By the end of today, traffic and weather together is next. KSL News Time 9:02.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
This is Christian Staples with Arctic Spas. It is time for our annual spring clearance sale at Arctic Spas. Tons of hot tubs, swim spas, all-weather pools, saunas, and cold tubs all on sale at up to $7,500 off. Yes, up to $7,500 off. Just in time for the summer fun to begin. Plus, we have a few models left over from last year, like an Arctic Spa Polaris, a 7-foot by 7-foot with 40 massaging jets, 2 pumps, ozone water purification, UV water purification, multicolored LED lights, and a waterfall, now discounted to $89.95. Swim spas starting out at $19,995. This brings a pool to your backyard all year long, but especially for the family fun this summer. Comfort and convenience is on sale with our automated saltwater system. Or save even more with almost new refurbished Arctic Spas from years past. Start out online at ArcticSpasUtah.com to pick out your favorite spa. Then stop by one of our 3 Arctic Spa stores covering all of Utah: Salt Lake, American Fork, and St. George. Arctic Spas, the only spa built for Utah's harsh climate.
What was that?
That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm, I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business calm at ooma.com/radio.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Discover the timeless value at Duke's Jewelers, a local treasure since 1948. Whether you're searching for a unique engagement ring or need expert watch repair, Duke's has been serving the community for over 75 years. It's the perfect time to visit and explore the wide selection of custom designs and quality gemstones. The skilled designers at Duke's can bring your dream piece to life, while experienced jewelers handle repairs and modifications in-house. Duke's Jewelers takes pride in value pricing, ensuring you receive the best prices every day. Need an appraisal? The Duke's Jewelers AGS certified gemologist is here to help. Whether it's hand or machine engraving, or redesigning old favorites into something new, get personalized service for every occasion. Visit Duke's Jewelers and experience the difference of locally operated expertise and dedication. Duke's Jewelers in Springfield, Utah.
Traffic and weather together on KSL News Radio, brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Here's Heather Kelly.
The crashes just keep on coming. The latest one southbound I-15 just after 12th Street in Ogden. It's now been moved over to the right shoulder, but it was causing slowdowns backing up into Marriott Slaterville. You still have the crash as you continue southbound 15 in Farmington, right underneath the Glover Lane overpass. That too is over on the right shoulder. And SR 36, the delays are breaking up. This traffic is going a bit faster, but you're still very much overly congested trying to get out of Stansbury Park up to I-80. The Memorial Day Serta mattress sale is going on now at Two Brothers Mattress. Save up to $400 on Serta mattresses. Visit one of our 5 stores or twobrothersmattress.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather today, much colder. Highs will be in the 50s with rain and clouds. Right now it's partly cloudy and 50 degrees. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio. Dave and Dujanovic, special coverage of the top national story.
Well, tax breaks on tips, tax breaks on overtime, a little closer to becoming a reality. Republicans back in Congress proposing New tax breaks as part of this larger tax package that we're going to talk about this morning. Dave, what was your initial reaction when you heard that this is part of the potential deal?
I want to celebrate it. Because I feel overtaxed. You're overtaxed, I'm overtaxed, everybody is overtaxed. So the idea of being taxed less, it's intriguing on so many levels, but this is so financially irresponsible. I can't believe we're doing it with a straight face. Tax cuts, again, fundamentally, I feel overtaxed, but what in the world are we doing?
Just carving out tax breaks for people who get tips, or carving out tax breaks for people who collect overtime?
Exactly. If we keep giving people tax cuts and we keep spending at outrageous levels, how in the world does this just not skyrocket our deficits in the national debt?
Well, let's go over just some bits and pieces of what this this bill would look like. We just talked about no tax on tips and overtime. We're going to dive into that in more detail in just a few minutes, and we're also going to take your live calls. Are you for this, or are you like more on Team Dave? We're like, what? Absolutely not. We can't have carve-outs. We can't just have carve-outs for people who collect tips or people who get paid overtime. You're pretty hot on that.
Even though we would personally, my family would personally benefit from this. I've got 3 kids, servers. I've got 3 that would benefit directly from this. But this is why it's important. Why would they get most favored server status, right? Why do they get the break and not the welter? Why would they get a break as servers and not the cooks in the back kitchen or the bussers or the hostesses? Well, why are they the ones that get the break?
Okay, look, I'm not accusing your kids of anything, but let's face it. How much of their tips are actually going to get declared anyway on taxes? I think that this is part of the politicians leaning into this idea that this is probably not ending up on people's tax filings anyway to a large degree. I think people probably declare some of their tips, but not all of their tips. Also, these are some of the most lowest paying hourly wage jobs. And what I mean by that is, at least in our state, they're paid $2.50 an hour?
$2.13.
They're on their feet all day long,
it is.
Or for an entire shift, and their tips depend quite often on the mood of the customer or the person that cooked the steak for that customer, but undercooked it and upset the customer. And so now the customer is going to reward your children with a $1 tip to send a message.
Yep.
So I think there's several layers to this that, again, Republicans, Congress leaning into this idea that they're not being declared anyway. Dave, I got news for you. Right?
The IRS actually estimates that, to your point, 84% of tip income is not declared.
And so this is a way of throwing their hands up, making it less complicated to file taxes.
That's a good point.
Making our servers feel a lot less guilty year after year. Is the IRS going to come after me? No, it's just we're gonna take the loss on that one. However, this proposal expands to the child tax credit as well. The idea of temporarily increasing it by $500 from $2,000 now to $2,500. What are your quick thoughts on that?
I've benefited from these as well. Again, whenever we look at these, it's very easy to justify it because for years I've benefited from the child tax credit. So an extra $500, does that make or break my year? No, of course it doesn't. But it certainly is beneficial. When I had 4 children, that would have been an extra $2,000. When I had 4 children at home, that'd be an extra,
Remind me,
$2,000.
Is that I can't remember because it's been so long for me. Is it just lopped off the top of your income?
Of what? No, not even of your income. It's what you owe. So it is straight up, hey, if you owe $2,000, we're going to give you two.
I love how you know that.
We're going to just wipe it away. But if you have 4 kids, like I did, I was getting $8,000 in tax credits when I had 4 kids living at home, and that was outstanding because I always got a return. I always got a nice return at the end of the year.
The flip side to this, and I read this on Reuters. Let me just tell you what they said. Legislation would reduce government revenue by trillions of dollars, adding to the national debt that currently totals $36.2 trillion. So the concern is like, how are they going to make up this money? Because even if not all servers declare their tips on their taxes, or overtime is no longer taxed, the question is like, okay, even that amount of revenue, how do they make that up? And Reuters reports that the lost revenue would be partially offset by restrictions on Medicaid health, the Medicaid health plan, which covers 71 million low-income families. There would also be some other spending cuts over the coming decade. Not specifically, do I know what those are, but there would be other spending cuts. And they would increase tax on university endowments for some universities. Okay, it doesn't sound like that's nearly enough, though, to make up the lost revenue.
And that's the key. And that's what we have to look at is as much as we probably should lean into tax cuts across the board, from county, local, state taxes to federal taxes, because we're just overtaxed on so many levels. We do have to look at how much money we're spending. And if you reduce revenues, if you're reducing the money that we're giving to the government and they're still spending at these outrageous levels, then the deficit is just going to soar even worse than it already is. Now, the argument is, why all of a sudden do we care about deficits when for decades now we have completely ignored our deficits? We just spend regardless of the money we bring in. So does it really matter?
Well, I guess we got to know what the goal is. What is the goal? If the goal is to reduce the deficit, this might not get us there. Billy Hesterman, the president of the Utah Taxpayers Association, I said might not get us there. It doesn't seem like it will get us there.
No, it certainly increases the amount of money that we're in debt as a country. And I think there's those of us that are, the budget fiscal hawks that we'd like to see that shrink and not expanded. But that doesn't seem the direction right now that our elected officials are going.
Where's the justification? I mean, I've heard it in the past where, hey, this is going to stimulate the economy. It's going to improve. Wages are going to go up. And, we're going to be able to just spend, and it's going to improve the economy. So that will make up the difference. Do you buy into that argument?
That's right. There's that theory that if we cut taxes enough and put more money into the economy through businesses and families, that they'll spend and it'll make up for itself. And it does to a point. But we still have to look at our overall spending and realize that right now the services we're asking from our government are costing more than what we're giving it. And so eventually it does, logic would seem to say that we're going to have to figure out how to pay for all of it at some point in time. We just haven't decided when we're going to make that bill due yet.
Yeah, I mean, if we're a family of five and we have $200,000 on credit cards and we're only bringing in, $110,000 between two working parents, that's a problem. I'm not suggesting that is apples to apples with what the federal government is doing, but if we're spending more than we're bringing in, eventually we end up in the front of the line of bankruptcy court, Billy.
Exactly, and that's the problem, and that's what we hope our elected officials can take a look at over the, it's not going to happen in one day or in one bill.
Right.
It's going to be taking a culture of all our elected officials over the next 10 to 15 years to say, we've got to figure this out. We need to figure out how to reduce the spending and make sure that the programs are running efficiently, make sure that we're cutting the fat from the government, but still making sure that we're also not taking away those things that really are benefiting all of us as a people and as a country.
This program, according to multiple news sources, Newsweek, Reuters have said that this would partly be paid by cuts to Medicaid, food stamps, some of the green energy programs. Do you think there's enough to be cut? Or if DOJ steps in and with the savings, does that make up for any of the windfall here?
I think it makes up for some. I think we also have to keep an eye on what the tariff battle that President Trump is in to see if maybe there is some additional revenue that he's going to pick up from there. There's not going to be, one or two levers we can pull that are going to fix this problem. I think both of you have noted that it's been decades now that we've been going this direction. it's probably going to take decades to turn us back the other way. And it's so complex that we can't just say, all right, let's cut this, this, and this, and then it's going to be solved. It's going to, as we've mentioned before, take us electing officials that see this as a priority in the future to make sure that the budget is balanced and that we're not putting ourselves in a spot where someday those countries that are buying our debt come back and say, hey, if you're not paying, we're going to take some damage onto your country.
Billy Hesterman with the Utah Taxpayers Association. We're going to let you go in just a moment, but I'm curious what your thought is on this idea of no tax on tips.
I think it's an interesting political idea. Certainly it helps out, some of those people that are in that category that are working on tips right now. But also I think we have to remember that oftentimes a lot of our tipped workers weren't paying much in federal taxes anyway. So it felt more like a good campaign promise to get votes more than it is an actual help to anyone that it's going to make a difference for them in their everyday life.
And they're not paying taxes because of the wages that they earn, correct? Is that what
Correct.
you're suggesting? Okay, yeah. Because
they're not claiming it.
They're not, yeah, and that could be it as well. So, all right, Billy, thank you so much for jumping on the line. We'll stay in touch with you as this story continues to develop. That is Billy Hesterman, president of the Utah Taxpayers Association. 801-575-TALK. Are you all in on no tax on tips? We'll even throw overtime into that mix because that is also part of the proposal. Are you thinking, no, we can't afford to do this as a country? 801-575-TALK. Give us 1 minute. We're going to take your live calls.
The no tax on overtime is another element that is very, very interesting to me because, again, just looking back to the times when I was an hourly worker, there were times when I would make maybe 50% more of my base salary in overtime because you get paid time and a half. You're working 50, 60, 70 hours a week. And I made $20,000 in overtime one year. $20,000. If you take away taxes on that, let's say a 10% tax or 15% tax, that's $2,000 or $3,000 extra that I get to keep. That is outstanding, right? That is meaningful money that I get to keep. That's the temptation, though, right? Is it so popular? There's so many people that have experienced that and would benefit from it, even if it doesn't make fiscal sense in the big picture. It feels great to the individual.
Oh, but it's still a carve out.
Totally is.
Just like the tax on tips.
Totally.
It's the same thing, only different.
Yeah, it's
different, only the same. 801-575-TALK. Let's get to our call line. Hi, Jake.
Hey, how's it going?
What do you think about tax on tips?
I think it is absolutely doable, and I think we should do more. I mean, to Dave's point, I think, you can't just do it to the one. And in light of what the analyst that you had on the show before, I think that there is something very stark that people do not really recognize. I mean, when it comes to misallocation of funds, I mean, let's talk about, you said, when we said we were going to contribute $2 billion to Haiti after the earthquake. Up to this current day, according to documentation, only $48 million ever went. That's 2%. When you compare that to our nonprofits here in Utah, do you know how much overhead that they have to only allocate while rest goes to serving people? 85%. If our own federal government can only do 2% and keep 56 in U.S. agencies, when our own nonprofits have to give up 85%.
Jake, I feel like we're getting away from tax on tips, the question about tax on tips. So you feel like we can do away with tax on tips?
With the wasteful allocations of spending we are doing in our own government? Absolutely.
So you're saying look for other ways to make up that revenue down the road. Thanks so much, Jake. Russ from Salt Lake City, you say you work a lot of overtime. Do you like the idea of no tax on overtime?
Absolutely, I do. In regards to the fact that I go into a higher tax bracket when I work overtime. Most guys don't want to work more than 5, 6, 7 hours of overtime because it actually costs them more money. And time is the most valuable commodity that we have. When you give up more of that to then, say, service your company or an economy that you're helping, and you get penalized for it, it is kind of frustrating.
Gosh, that's a great point, Russ. I'm thinking about all the times I'd get called in for an overtime shift because I was on call, right? I didn't have a choice but to get called in. And I guess looking back, you know, I never really thought of it like that. Like, how much is that pushing me over in terms to another tax bracket and affecting me? And I'm being penalized for being available. I mean, I agreed to be available. I loved to go to breaking news stories. But on the other hand, I'm like, I didn't really do the math on the other end.
Utah does a very interesting job when it cuts taxes because they don't do the splashy carve-outs. In fact, they tried to do the splashy carve-outs this year where they erased taxes on Social Security, right? But instead, Utah has routinely just said, we're going to take the state income tax and we're going to lower it. Every single year over the last 4 or 5 years, they've lowered the state income tax, and it's usually by like 0.1 or 0.2. So we went from basically 5% to 4.9 to 4.8. That's not splashy. It's not exciting, but it affects everybody. When you have no tax on tips, when you have no taxes on overtime, you are carving out certain industries. And that's why I think it's bad tax policy is you're like, oh, we're gonna help out the servers in our lives, but not the welders. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Dave and I talking about the proposal being floated back in Washington, D.C. regarding this tax package that would eliminate tax on tips. It would eliminate tax on overtime. And it's also looking at upping the child tax credit from $2,000 to $2,500. On the flip side of this, there's concerns that this will create a bigger issue with our federal deficit. We've talked extensively on the show about the issues with the deficit and the issues with Social Security and Medicare and all of those things combined and how it is pushing us into a larger deficit. So the question then becomes, is this the right direction to eliminate taxes on things like tips and things like overtime?
If you could show me how you are cutting dollar for dollar government spending so that it doesn't raise the deficit, then maybe you could gain a little bit of my support. I still don't like the carve-outs, but nevertheless, I haven't seen one report yet that says this does anything other than add billions, hundreds of billions, perhaps trillions of dollars to the national debt.
Well, maybe it makes some people feel better too, right? I mean, maybe, if you're a server and you're having to keep track of all of your cash tips on a spreadsheet, I mean, it would make me feel better. It would give me a sense of relief that I, wouldn't have to declare those at the end of the year. We'll continue to track it. Great discussion. Straight ahead. It seems like your internet search habits are shifting. What does that all mean? We'll tell you what we think is going on with this next.
The main character in every news story is a real person.
I want people who listen to Midday to listen to the show and think it is about them. They're hearing a story that touches them in some way.
The main character in every news story is you.
Whether it is their pocketbook, whether it is their child's safety, people should hear something that is more thought-provoking.
Midday with Maria Chaleos. All new noon to 3 on KSL News Radio.
If you're looking to lose some weight, let me tell you about Salt Lake City Fat Loss. It's a program that I'm just shouting from the rooftops. I love it because it was so effective for me. They told me many people will lose 20 to 30 pounds in just a month or two. You could lose up to a pound of fat per day. And that is exactly what I saw. 57 pounds in 60 days is what I lost with Salt Lake City Fat Loss. But let me explain to you a little bit how it works. This is a program that doesn't require you to get any surgery. There's no weekly injections. There's no insane point counting, where you have to spend all day on your phone inputting, I had this much broccoli, I had this many cookies. You don't have to do that. It's so easy to follow. There's no prepackaged meals that you're going to get bored of after a couple of weeks. Make sure you reach out. Let them walk you through a free consultation. Just go to their website. You're going to get an extra $200 off the program right now if you sign up. So check out Salt Lake City Fat Loss. Go to their website, slcfatloss.com. That's slcfatloss.com.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors to tell you about our 10-year everything guarantee. Most contractors spout off having great warranties that last forever. But those warranties are always, and I do mean always, riddled with loopholes, exception, fine print, and nonsense. At RGS Exteriors, we cover everything. Parts, labor, material, everything and anything for 10 full years. There's no cost to you whatsoever. No hoops to jump through, no exceptions. Yes, the products we sell, like James Hardy siding, our windows, gutter covers, come with a 25 to 50-year manufacturer's warranty, just like everybody else. But the truth is, the products almost never fail. It's always the labor and material which is never covered, so you're stuck paying for service calls. For peace of mind, call RGS Exteriors. You'll sleep easy for 10 full years. 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's 801-280-3110 or online rgsutah.com. Gutters, siding, windows, and all exteriors with the 10-year everything guarantee.
Summer is just around the corner. Kickstart your next great adventure during Motorsportsland RV Center's huge pre-Memorial Day sale. Save big on hundreds of RVs, travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, and motorhomes, all priced to move before the holiday rush. Get camping ready with travel trailers from just $6 a day, or upgrade to a luxury RV and save thousands. Unlike other dealers, we don't sneak in hidden fees for freight, prep, or orientation. What you see is what you pay. Every RV comes with free training, so you're adventure ready the moment you leave the lot. With flexible financing, upfront pricing, and Utah's best selection, your summer adventure starts at a Motorsportsland RV Center. Hurry into Mill Creek or Spanish Fork, or visit motorsportsland.com and let Motorsportsland help you get away.
Let Motorsportsland help you get away.
Motorsportsland.com.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
In 6/22/25, new customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top local story this hour. Yesterday's strong winds are still having a big impact on our air quality today, and temperatures have bottomed out at the same time. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more.
Those southwest winds drove a ton of dust from the West Desert into the valleys, which has since caused some air monitors to go orange in parts of Salt Lake County and red or unhealthy in Utah County. KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says, though, we should get some relief later today.
Today we'll see improving air quality. Temperatures will top in the upper 50s. That's 30 degrees cooler than yesterday, with a chance for showers, hoping to really clean this air out.
Matt says that chance for rain will be strongest in the afternoon and evening. Temperatures are not expected to exceed 70 degrees again until Saturday. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Draper City is giving the go-ahead for construction to begin to restore a slope and build a retaining wall that collapsed 2 years ago in Suncrest. Ellen Keller lives just across the street from where the slide took place. She says she's excited about the announcement.
But we know that we have months of disruption and huge trucks and road closures and noise.
Construction should start in the next 3 weeks, but the city is not sure how long it will take. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Stock markets saw their best day in over a month after the announcement that President Trump's 145% tariff on Chinese imports was being rolled back to 30%.
In April, the U.S. collected $16.3 billion in customs duties, more than double a year ago, likely reflecting tariffs on steel and aluminum products from Mexico and Canada. These costs passed on to businesses and consumers. When asked if that 145% tariff will go back into effect if a longer-term deal isn't reached with China, the president downplaying the possibility.
ABC News chief business correspondent Rebecca Jarvis reporting. Your money at this moment, the Dow actually down this morning after yesterday's big gains, 148 points to 42,261. Coming up, it's going to rain today. It's already getting pretty cloudy. Weather's next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Hi, I'm Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. When the IRS invades your life, keep in mind, it's not just you.
My name is David. I was in trouble with the IRS. I owed about $140,000. It was a very stressful thing to know that you owed that much money to the IRS.
Don't face the IRS alone.
When I knew how much I owed, it was really, it's overwhelming. It's you worry about the whole, your whole world, what's going to happen.
With everything in your life at stake, don't trust just anyone.
Everything was said and done, and with the IRS offered me to pay $4,000.
You need someone to fight for you.
Do not hesitate. Do not think it twice. Go see Jordan Wilcox.
Visit endtaxworry.com. Put an end to IRS collection and aggression today. That's endtaxworry.com.
Anybody that needs help in this situation, please go see him.
endtaxworry.com.
Traffic and weather together on KSL News Radio, brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Let's check in with Heather Kelly.
Well, the crash southbound I-15 at Glover Lane in Farmington is just now pulling back into traffic. All the lanes are now open, the shoulder is open, and traffic is moving freely through most of Davis County. But you're going to hit the brakes again right around the north interchange all the way to the 6 North exit in Salt Lake City. That is due to lane restrictions. You have the right lane blocked off between 1100 North and 600 North, so that's causing that delay. You still have a bit of slowing northbound I-15 as well from Bluffdale to Bangerter Highway exit. And if you're on 106 South in Sandy, westbound is a parking lot from State Street all the way over to 400 West because you only have one lane open in that area. This spring, experience the magic of nature and light at Zooluminate, where the wild things glow. Hogle Zoo's new after-hours event. Get your Zooluminate tickets at hoglezoo.org. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather today will be much, much colder than yesterday. Highs will only be in the 50s with rain and clouds. Right now, it is mostly cloudy and 51 degrees. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
I think the way that we are searching the internet, our internet search habits are shifting. And we're starting to see evidence of that with what Apple is saying about internet searches. But what's your initial thought about that when I say that? Think about your habits. Have they shifted?
Completely.
How so?
The way I search right now is completely different than it was, and my expectations of what I'm going to receive are completely different. Let's say 2 years ago, when I would search something, I would type it into my Google search and I'd ask a question. I would expect to be linked to some sort of an article. Right now, I ask a question, I get a full explanation of that question. Cited, sourced, it is incredible.
And that's because of artificial intelligence.
AI has changed the search game.
Do you find yourself using Google or maybe Safari less than you had before?
Yeah, very much. I use Gemini. I use ChatGPT.
So these are apps. I don't use Gemini. I use ChatGPT. I downloaded the ChatGPT app at the encouragement of my daughter. And she said, "Oh, you should try this, Mom." And I'm like, "Well, I don't use AI for work.
Mm-hmm.
I do the old-fashioned way. But for my personal life, I thought, well, why not? I mean, all the kids are using it, right? So it's free. I downloaded the ChatGPT app several weeks ago, and I started using it for things like asking it. I use the little microphone button. I figured that out. I talk into it, and I ask it to create a grocery list, a shopping list for me for a $100 a week grocery budget to include lots of chicken recipes and lots of fruits and veggies from the produce section. And Dave, that thing spit back, a long list in a matter of seconds, and then prompted me to say something like, would you like the recipes to go with that? I'm like, well, yes. So all of these mom years that I've spent trying to come up with the recipe of the day or the meal of the day using my own brain, it was now just handed to me through an app, ChatGPT. And that is how I have shifted my Google searches. I find myself not searching Google as much. And in a moment, we're going to hear from a technology reporter with ABC News, Mike Dubusky, about how this is affecting Google and also what Apple, our iPhone maker, is saying about it.
The best thing that has happened with AI and searches is you can ask a question and then you'll get your answer. You're like, that's not exactly what I was looking for. You can just tack on a little bit of a clarifier. So, for example, you can say, hey, going back to your food thing, hey, these are the 5 ingredients I have, yada, yada, what fridge, can I make? Yeah. Oh, sorry, I meant to say I want it to be vegan. You don't have to totally redo the search. You can just say, but make this vegan.
I've spent countless hours clicking the X on the search bar and retyping everything.
Exactly.
I've done that, when I'm doing an internet search. Mike Dubusky, ABC News' technology reporter. I want you to talk about what you're seeing in terms of searches and how our habits are shifting, as well as what this means for companies like Google.
Yeah, well, a lot of this discussion, guys, actually started last week during the Google antitrust trial. So Google was ruled to be operating an illegal monopoly in the world of online search engines last year. Now we are having a whole court case dedicated to what to do about that, right? What are the remedies in this monopoly? And we've been hearing from figures around the tech world over the course of this trial. Last week, an Apple executive named Eddie Q took the stand and testified under oath that Apple, for the first time ever, is actually seeing a decline in searches on iPhones. Now, the terminology here is important, guys. He didn't say specifically that Google searches were down on iPhones, but Google is the default search engine on iPhones and indeed on all Apple devices. You have to go out of your way to change that default. So it was largely taken by the tech press and by the market to mean that there is a decline in Google searches happening on the iPhone, one of its huge, services, right? That's where a lot of people do their Googling. And as a result, Google stock took a real dive towards the end of last week, though it's worth mentioning it has recovered somewhat since then. Google, in the immediate aftermath of that, went into damage control mode. They put out a statement saying that actually they're seeing search growth in general and specifically a total query increase coming from Apple devices. So it seems on its surface like these two companies are at odds here. Apple is saying that searches are down. Google is saying that searches are up. However, there's a couple different ways to square this particular circle, guys. Google is the default search engine on iPhones here in the U.S. It is true for most of the world. It is not true in China, where there's a completely different search engine there that is the default search engine. Eddie Q may have been saying that they're seeing a drop-off in searches in China, and that could be pulling the overall number down. Q is also specifically talking about iPhones here, whereas Google's response mentioned Apple devices and platforms, which is a much more general term. So we could be seeing a decline in searches on iPhones, but we could see increases on surfaces like the iPad or on the Mac, for example. We're getting into semantics here, but what is clear and what's really important here, and what you guys have outlined, is that there seems to be this major shift in what we're searching for online, or rather how we're searching for things online. Eddie Q blamed this decline in searches on iPhones on the rise of artificial intelligence. People not going to Google anymore, rather going to ChatGPT to get an answer to their question. So it seems like AI is playing a major role. Of course, there's a lot of drawbacks to that as well, guys. As we know, artificial intelligence tools, large language models, to this day, 3 years after the launch of ChatGPT, consistently get things wrong. They hallucinate, they make things up, and that makes them overall a lot less trustworthy than a traditional Google search.
Mike Dubusky, thank you so much for joining us, ABC News and technology reporter.
I had that experience with, maybe I'll call it an error in what I got back. I don't know if it was a hallucination so much on the part, but I out of curiosity, I put my name into ChatGPT recently. And it kicked back a number of very accurate things about me, but then it also said I was not only a mother, but a grandmother. Emphasis on grandmother. I am not a grandmother.
That's news to me.
Yeah. So what I use it for, I still like the app. And I'm not encouraging it or not, advocating for it one way or the other. It's, everybody's got their own choice of how they want to do their searches. But for what I like it for very much is just that like initial search, like I talked about, like, hey, can you create a grocery recipe for me, or a grocery store shopping list for me and a number of recipes, and it's kind of difficult to mess that up. So I've had a lot of success with that, but I did notice that they got the fact that I'm not a grandmother, so they got that wrong.
I think the biggest key for artificial intelligence, and I think they're doing a very good job of this, sure, you can trust it, but you got to verify. And that is one of my favorite things about what AI is doing right now with ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever it might be, is they are linking where they got this information. So oftentimes I'll read something, I think, oh, wow, that's really wild. And then I'll look at the source. I'm like, that's not a source that I trust. So I will curate and make sure if I read something, I'm going to go to the source. Then I click on the source and then I read it to make sure that it's in context. But those are very easy steps to take to just verify that what they are saying is true.
Mm-hmm. We do that with internet searches anyway,
Totally.
Right? I mean, just get in that habit and stay with that habit. Straight ahead, Dave and I caught this story about what one airline is doing to make customers feel more, how would you say this, Dave? I'd call it the red carpet treatment in the sky. I'm going to tell you what they're doing next.
Do you know how to tell if a clogged drain is something to worry about or not? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I understand it's annoying and inconvenient, but sometimes a clogged drain can be a sign there's a more serious issue with your sewer main line. If the drains in the lowest level of your home aren't draining, or you flush a toilet and it comes up somewhere else like a shower or a floor drain, I'm urging you to look at this as more than just an annoyance. The last thing I want you to experience is a sewer backup. If you're a homeowner experiencing any of these issues, the first step would be to snake the line to see if it's just a blockage, which one of our drain techs can do for only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See dealer for full details and disclaimer.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, let's talk about how United Airlines is trying to enhance the customer experience. This happened during international travel, but I thought it'd be fun to talk about, Dave, with you, because anytime we talk about something that is going to expand and enhance a customer's experience on an airplane, I think about you sitting with your knees over your head because you always complain about the lack of space when it comes to seats on aircraft.
They've built these planes to be sardine cans, and they take the Dave Noriegas of the world and they shove us side by side, shoulder to shoulder, and they preserve us in oil because that's the only way we can squeeze in together. It is the most miserable experience of my life. And the only reason I put up with it is because I usually only fly a couple times a year.
You don't want to walk.
A couple hours
Right.
at most, right? I will not fly. I will tell you, Debbie, because the flying experience is so miserable for me. I'm 6 feet 6 inches tall, and I'm sharing my seat and your seat. It is so miserable because of the sardine can. I don't travel outside the country. Even though I would like to go back to Europe, I would love to travel around the world, love to go to Japan and China. I would love to see these things.
Actually,
I
now it's turned from funny to sad. We had a Debbie Downer moment. I felt, my heart just sank when you said that. I could see that, though, because you have to look at maybe an 8-hour flight with your knees over your head.
Some of those are 12, 14-hour flights if you're going, hey, we're going to go to Australia. Awesome. How many muscle relaxers can I take?
Have you thought about taking a boat instead? I don't mean rowing a boat.
Step.
No, like
Dave, I'd like to see you in the middle of the ocean with a sail.
A cruise ship would be more your vibe.
Can you do a cruise ship to China? I don't know. It is a miserable experience, and I think for far too long, airlines have had the attitude, more seats, more backsides and seats. I don't care about comfort. I don't care about accommodations. We're just going to make it as miserable as possible. If you're over 6 feet tall, your life is miserable.
Is it?
It is. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I'm 5'8", and I just have none of these issues. So, but here, I think that is why they invented the exit aisle for folks like you. But that's not fair either, because you don't want to be responsible for the lives of 150 passengers should something go wrong. Rarely does it go wrong.
You pay a premium for it.
You do?
Yeah. If you want an exit aisle, if you want extra leg room.
I'm like, I was like, do I look like you want me to be the hero on this flight?
Can you imagine if we ran restaurants like we did airlines? Oh, Mr. Noriega, I'm sorry. We're going to have to charge you a premium, to sit in a booth. Like, that's crazy. I'd like to sit in the booth. Oh, we're going to have to charge you a premium for that because you're over 6 feet tall. You have long legs.
Well, let's talk about how United Airlines is going to make your life better. And I think maybe it'll invite the idea of international travel for you and your family. I didn't know that was a hiccup for you. I just thought you liked driving back and forth to Davis County every day, and that was the extent of... So there's going to be the 787-9 aircraft. Sounds fascinating. I don't know what those look like. Maybe you can Google that. They're going to have ultra premium suites.
It's the Dreamliner.
Is that what it looks like?
It's the Dreamliner, yeah.
So they're going to have 8 what they call Polaris Studios. Sounds fabulous. 8 ultra premium suites. Are these the kind of suites that you can sit in and you can face each other? Because that would be fun for family travel. They're going to have increased 35 premium plus seats. So what this is going to mean is that you're going to have, in some cases, 25% seats that are 25% larger, and will be much more comfortable for you. You showing them to me?
Yeah, there's a couple things. So I'm showing you the 789 or 787-9 Dreamliner.
I don't
You've
fly
got
on
3
anything
rows.
that big. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's 3 rows. You've got 9 seats across. But one of the nice things when you have the first class seating, the luxury seating, premium seating, is they will actually tilt the seats differently. So instead of just being in a perfect line, so the seat in front of you is pointing forward, the seat behind is at like a 30-degree angle. So your knees aren't just scrunched up directly into somebody's back. So they kind of alternate the seating on this.
Odd when somebody's laying in my lap from somebody
Totally.
I've never met before.
So weird.
And I don't want to say anything because they're fast asleep, but I'm literally you're laying in my lap. And okay, so then they're going to have also some privacy doors. That's phenomenal, especially if you're traveling overseas. When you're on that next 9-hour flight, Dave, you'll want that privacy door. Extra ottoman. An ottoman on a plane. What is going on? 27-inch screens, which I don't know. I rarely watch movies on planes. What do they have on
Don't you
those
watch
now?
your iPad? you watch it on your phone?
iPad. I don't carry my iPad. No, I watch on my phone. No, I really don't. Sometimes I just stare ahead or read a book. Once in a while, I watch a movie.
You stare ahead?
You know what I do? I watch the actual flight. You know how you can
you
pull that up on the screen? I love watching the flight.
There's a term for that. There's this crazy term of people like they're straight lining, the airline.
I watch the
it's something
flight.
crazy.
I know exactly what altitude we're at, what speed we're going, and when we're landing. They also have these like luxury skincare options when you're on this flight.
Luxury skincare option? Like they're going to give you a facial?
Maybe. Well, it says there's amenities kits with luxury skincare options. And caviar. They'll have an offering of caviar with wine.
Wait, you know what I've always been looking for? 30,000 feet in the air. You know what I could really go for? Some caviar. Let me give me some fish eggs. I'm sure nothing can go wrong if I'm consuming fish eggs and turbulence in the same hour.
It's like
this is going to be amazing.
On a long flight, and they're like, we have several sandwich offerings. Like, what is it? And they're like, egg salad. So I'm like, I love egg salad when I'm in my kitchen, but I can't do it here at 35,000 feet. We're good.
3 things you should never serve on the plane: egg salad, the tuna salad, and the caviar. They're like, no. This is going to be great, guys. We've tripled our bathrooms.
So my take on this is that, we put so much time and effort into finding the perfect hotel when we're on vacation with an ocean view or whatever, or a mountain view or something that's kind of remote where we can really sit back and relax. But I think we've kind of put up with the miserable transportation offerings to get there.
Totally agree.
So we're willing.
That's a great point.
And I have a habit of this. I'm searching the web for the cheapest flight to get back and forth to the hotel that's going to charge me $350 a night. But I only want to pay $99 round trip for my flight. Like, what is with me? So I think what airlines are trying to do is make our air travel part of the entire vacation experience instead of, I got to get there somehow. It's either by bus or by plane, and by bus will take me 5 days and plane will take me 5 hours,
I wonder if they're not learning from the movie industry. Remember when we used to have these terrible theaters where we'd sit into these awful seats.
Can't feel your backside for days after you get up. Yeah.
You're just grinding out 2 hours in a movie.
Yeah.
Now it is like luxury seating, leather, kick the feet out. Oh, you want us to bring your popcorn to you? It completely changed the movie experience. They sacrificed some of you're paying a lot more for these premium seats, right?
Really?
How much you're paying for movies now versus
I just pay it and don't even compare.
Right, because that's what the standard is now. But I think it has absolutely improved the experience in the movie theaters. This would get me on a plane to Europe. If I could sit,
that's awesome.
have some leg room, put my feet up on an ottoman, have a 27-inch, I'm in.
Yeah. The thing is, we don't know what the cost is going to be, though, for a ticket. So we'll stand by for that announcement.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
Do you want to make your house more comfortable, more energy efficient, more valuable? Well, maybe it's time you took a look at your doors and windows. And there's nobody around who does doors and windows better than Peach Doors and Windows.
Improve the functionality of your home with custom replacement windows, entry doors, patio doors. Maybe you have a sunroom or you want a new custom front door and windows to maximize the beauty of your home. Peach offers flexible financing available to fit any budget. They've got expert installation, including fiberglass doors, which are their specialty. And they'll replace your windows with the highest energy efficiency rating.
And customer service is a top priority. It's the reason why they have so many 5-star reviews on Google. You can check it out for yourself. You can also check them out online at peachbuildingproducts.com. You can call for a free in-home estimate, 801-566-1255.
Or see them in person, 2940 South, 300 West in Salt Lake City. They're open 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. Go check out their beautiful showroom. It's Peach Doors and Windows.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Imagine struggling with a slow, outdated computer that takes forever to load anything, that randomly freezes up and is filled with viruses and malware.
Now picture yourself with a powerful desktop or laptop that runs smoothly and efficiently, making your work and entertainment seamless.
Take one home today. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
Summer is right around the corner.
It's time to spring into summer with Soda Weight Loss. Today is a new day.
And a big day for you.
Why? Because right now, you'll get our biggest discount of the year.
Do you know how good it feels to let go of 51 pounds of belly fat? And I did it without drugs, shots, or hunger. Because Soda Weight Loss works. Just look at all the Google reviews and all the thousands of before and after pictures.
Soda Weight Loss has one goal, and that's to help you let go of the weight for good.
So I lost 25 pounds. I was never hungry. It was very, very easy. I couldn't believe how fast the weight came off.
Now is the time to join America's #1 weight loss company for client satisfaction and results.
Hurry. Savings won't last long.
Let's go.
Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
This is Christian Staples with Arctic Spas. It is time for our annual spring clearance sale at Arctic Spas. Tons of hot tubs, swim spas, all-weather pools, saunas, and cold tubs all on sale at up to $7,500 off. Yes, up to $7,500 off. Just in time for the summer fun to begin. Plus, we have a few models left over from last year, like an Arctic Spa Polaris, a 7-foot by 7-foot with 40 massaging jets, 2 pumps, ozone water purification, UV water purification, multicolored LED lights, and a waterfall, now discounted to $89.95. Swim spas starting out at $19,995. This brings a pool to your backyard all year long, but especially for the family fun this summer. Comfort and convenience is on sale with our automated saltwater system. Or save even more with almost new refurbished Arctic Spas from years past. Start out online at ArcticSpasUtah.com to pick out your favorite spa. Then stop by one of our 3 Arctic Spa stores covering all of Utah: Salt Lake, American Fork, and St. George. Arctic Spas, the only spa built for Utah's harsh climate.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. We had 2 officer-involved shootings overnight along the Wasatch Front. The first happened in Salt Lake City near 6th West and 100 South along the railroad tracks. The second happened in Ogden. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla is following that investigation.
Ogden police say it was around 2 a.m. when an officer saw a man walking around 22nd Street and Wall Avenue. After talking to him, the man reportedly pulled out a pair of knives he had been hiding in his pockets. He ran towards the officer with them, leading the officer to then shoot him. He was taken to the hospital where he's now being treated. The Weber County Attorney's Office will be investigating the incident, and the officer has been placed on leave. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Trump is in Saudi Arabia this morning, meeting with top officials there. The president will also make stops in Qatar and the United Arab Emirates. The latest consumer price index released today shows we are paying about 2.3% more for just about everything compared to a year ago. Food prices on some items did go down compared to the month before. The cost of a dozen eggs fell more than 10% as the impact of avian flu eased. Still, egg prices are almost 50% higher than in April of last year. Your money at this moment, the Dow down 158 points this morning, 0.3% to 42,253. Coming up, we've got rain in the forecast for this afternoon. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time 10:01.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Jeff Kaplan. When I was a kid, my parents got me a subscription to Newsweek magazine. I would devour every page into the night. And to this day, I sit on my iPad looking for stories for my Minute of News, flesh out our coverage, and I get to share the news with you.
Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. A My Social Security account allows you to access your earnings history and benefits information, request a replacement Social Security card, get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
We're really excited to be talking to Joanna Sutherland right now. She's the program manager at the Utah Department of Health and Human Services. And Joanna, let's start with a really important question I think a lot of parents have when it comes to their child's mental health. You know, we've got this rather new number, 988. What happens if a parent needs to call 988? What kind of services will they be offered?
Hi, yeah. So when you call 988, you'll be connected with someone who really understands what you're going through. They can send a specially trained team right to where you are. It's called a mobile crisis outreach team, and that can be whether it's at your home, your child's school, or even a nearby park. These folks know how to support kids and teens in crisis, and they're there to help right away. They'll also work with you to find longer-term stabilization support so your child and your whole family can get the help you need moving forward.
Joanna, when should I guess be concerned with my child? What are some of the warning signs, and what, I guess maybe what threshold do I need to reach before I call 988?
That's a great question, and something that we're really trying to drive is that there's no wrong reason to call 988. If you're questioning whether you should call 988, the answer is that you should call 988. If you're worried about your kids, if you're noticing mood changes, depression, substance use, aggressive behavior, grief, trauma, difficulties at school, any of those things would be a reason to call. But you can also just call if you have questions. If you want to know what happens when you call 988, it's a great time to call.
Joanna, just briefly bring us up to speed. You mentioned youth stabilization services. What are those?
Yeah, so it's free ongoing support for families. So youth stabilization services are all about helping families after a mental health crisis. So think of it as extra support when things feel overwhelming. A mental health professional will visit your family 2 to 3 times a week at no cost for about 6 to 8 weeks, and they'll work with you to tackle emotional or behavioral challenges and help create a more stable, supportive environment at home. It's really about making sure your family has the tools and support to move forward in a healthy way.
We know it. It's 988. As you said, Deb, it's new. New-ish, we can say, but 988 is a great resource if you're concerned about your child's mental health. Joanna, thank you so much for joining us. Joanna Sutherland, Program Manager at the Utah Department of Health and Human Services. But if you're in doubt, if you think, I wonder if my kid needs help, just dial 988.
Hey there, I'm Phil Briggs, Navy veteran and host of CBS Eye on Veterans weekly radio show and podcast. And over the years, I've loved sharing military stories with my neighbor Greg, a battle-tested former Army Ranger. He's a barbecue master and always welcomes us over. As it's Military Appreciation Month, Navy Federal Credit Union wants all active duty, veterans, and family to know that they're always eligible to join. Because at Navy Federal, our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my superhydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
If you've got a honey-do list with electrical, plumbing, heating, or air conditioning projects on it, Any Hour Services can help. Call Any Hour Services, electrical, plumbing, heating, and air. anyhourservices.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's homegrown home loans. Here's Heather Kelly.
Most of the accidents have cleared, but now you have lane restrictions to deal with, and it's slowing you down southbound I-15 between Warm Springs Road and 600 North, where the right lane is blocked in that area. And then if you're on 106 South in South Jordan Sandy area, westbound 106 South is down to one lane. As you make your way over I-15, head to 400 West. They're doing some road work there, and that is causing delays from time to time. Then you have some disabled vehicles to deal with. The worst one is on the exit ramp of southbound I-15 to 90th South in Sandy. It's blocking the right lane and shoulder. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather right now, it's mostly cloudy and 51 degrees in Salt Lake. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Let's talk about the cost of a wedding. Are you holding on to your wallet, Dave?
I've got a 21-year-old that's not married, a daughter, the only one.
So The Knot, which is a pretty popular wedding website, put out this survey, this study of the average cost of a wedding. You ready for this?
Okay, lay it on me.
$33,000.
Stop it. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
$3,300
is what you meant to say.
$33,000. $33,000.
Holy smokes.
Hometown wedding will run you about $32,000. If you want a destination wedding, $39,000. I want to talk about what we could do with that money instead of paying for a wedding, but let's not go down that road. I wonder where the expense, why it got to be so much money. I think mine was under $4,000.
Oh, now we're talking.
And 95. It was about $4,500. Maybe there was some stuff in there we didn't include, though. I mean, I might not have included, like, for example, the rehearsal dinner because my in-laws paid for that. So I might not have included that price. So maybe it was more like $5,000. I mean, the rehearsal dinner was just a few people.
This was 1995?
I know. It was the old days. Yeah, $33,000. If you're paying for your kids to get married, that's a chunk to save up for. That's a lot of money. And how do you tell your beautiful daughter, no, we're not paying for that?
This might surprise you a little bit. I'm a little bit of a romantic when it comes to weddings. Like, I love a wedding. I loved seeing the bride and groom. They look amazing. I've gone to so many weddings because I've been a wedding photographer, a videographer, mostly just doing it for friends at this point. But it's something that I love. I enjoy it. When at some point, though, you're spending so much money, it takes the fun out of the day.
You think so? You haven't done it yet, so you don't.
No.
That's not something you can speak from experience about,
Correct.
right? And we, frankly, haven't done it yet either. I mean, we haven't written all the checks, but I'm excited for the day, and it's not going to be cheap. Don't know that it's going to be $33,000 either, but I'm really excited. I've told my kids, let's have a party, right? Let's just have a party. But the average cost per guest is $284. So a little bit like when you break down the average cost per square foot of a house when you're buying it.
Cost per square guest.
Yeah, and the average guest count is 116. So right in there is part of your problem. And it's hard. I went through it. It is hard to tell somebody kind of by not sending them an invitation that they're not going to be part of the wedding guest list. They're not going to be on the wedding guest list. But that is one sure way to cut down on the cost. Because if you have 50 guests, according to this, it's going to be about 14 grand. If you have 100 guests, it's about 28 grand. 150 guests, you're running 42 grand. 200 guests, well, I don't know. You might as well just go buy yourself a house because it's creeping near 60 grand instead of throwing a wedding. Buy a house with that 60 grand and do a barbecue in the backyard with the wedding ceremony, after everybody has hamburgers and hot dogs. No, but the more people you invite, the more expensive it is. I think it's really hard to cut the guest list. I think that probably creates more tension in wedding planning between two different sides of this, the groom and the bride's side, than anything else. Is like, why are we inviting your great Uncle Joe? You haven't seen him in 100 years.
Yeah, I've never met him, but we're inviting them. Yeah. There's an expectation. I just wonder at what point do you look at that money and say, that's money well spent? And again, this is coming from...
It's shocking to me that you say that. So you think invite great Uncle Joe? It's just everybody's our friend, right? We don't want to hurt any feelings. Like, think of all the friends we have on Facebook. We don't even know them. We want everybody to be our friend. And so the hardest thing to do is tell somebody, again, through the fact that they didn't receive an invitation, that they didn't make the cut. But you're like, let's just invite everybody.
No. That's what I'm saying is when we start just expanding everyone that we invite, we're going to have to redefine who is close. It should be kind of close family. And there's probably a standard here that we've got to come up with on the fly of like who qualifies. If I'm stranded on the side of the road and I wouldn't feel comfortable calling you, then maybe you're off the list. Yeah. Maybe you don't get invited to my daughter's wedding.
So my hack to saving money on a wedding is you have to figure out who your friends really are.
Skinny up the list.
And even if you have to cut out some of the great aunts and uncles, you got to be prepared with this statement as to why. Keep that statement in your notes on your phone so when they call you, you have the statement ready to recite to them as to why. You're going to tell them, we just had to cut the guest list because we're paying $284 per guest. But how do you hack the cost of a wedding? Or how did you hack the cost of a wedding? We want you to chime in. 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. If it's $33,000 on average, come on, we're not all paying that, right? How did you do it? What did you say no to? 801-575-TALK. In a moment, we're going to speak to our producer, Caitlin Johnston. Some of her family members just got married, and they found a way to hack the cost, but it still cost a lot of money.
It depends on what you value. Do you want flowers? Do you want photography? Do you want video? Do you want a destination? The problem is, I think we prioritize everything. Like, I want the flowers, I want the photography, I want the destination, and that's how it grows.
Right.
And I think we have to do a better job of saying, hey, like if you were shopping for a home, like we shop for a wedding, where you're like, I'm not going to say no to anything. You would never buy a home. You have to say, I will give I'll go with the avocado green toilet and change it, at some point, but I'm not going to have the house of my dreams because I'll never get into the house.
So, Caitlin, break down the cost of the wedding that your family members recently went through. Because they did it at like a national park.
It's a Capitol Reef. And it was great. It
beautiful.
changed my perspective on how I want to do my wedding.
I saw the photos, Red Rock and everything, which I thought would be like, for example, maybe that's a $10 rental fee. For that.
Yeah, it was a little bit more than that when I actually asked my sister-in-law how much this cost. But so I was just doing a little bit of math on, I'll get to the total cost in a second.
Okay.
But if you just look at the ceremony only, don't they did a reception as well. That's where a lot of costs came in. But just the dress, the groom attire, the ties, the permit to get to Capitol Reef, that was about $2,000.
Oh, okay.
So if you just leave it at that, and it was only immediate family and the best man and the maid of honor. So very low key, very small amount of people. But that's if you keep it very simple. And then I was the photographer, videographer, so I kind of did that at a very discounted, non-paid rate.
But I'm looking at the spreadsheet that you shared with me last night for their wedding, and bridal attire, including dress, after party outfit, shoes, comes to $450.
Yes, because
$450. That's great.
Yeah, she bought it on Poshmark secondhand. She had 2 of the same dress. She got them for $100 each, and so that's just with like shoes and everything as well. But yeah, that's
she
one
bought
hack.
a backup dress.
Yeah, she had 2 because we knew it was going to get dirty.
Interesting.
But she knows how to do that.
But that kind of, when you set that at $450 budget, that allows for that. You can buy that extra dress because we're going to be outdoors.
Yeah,
it's going to
and
get dusty.
the groom attire was about $600, so she was cheaper than the groom, which is
Amazing.
unheard
That's
of.
amazing.
It's unheard of. But yeah, my sister-in-law wanted to do a lot of DIY and secondhand because she just wanted to keep it simple. But then you get more expenses because we did have a reception the next day, and she rented out an event center and all of that. And so total cost, and this is including the honeymoon as well. This is total wedding costs, gifts. It did end up being about $23,000 when you get all of that stacked on. And that's like one of the biggest expenses was the parents paid for our lodging while we were in Capitol Reef, and that was including breakfast. That was probably about $7,000 for everybody, because it was immediate family and close friends. So
I have a question, because I don't know these things. Is the expectation if you have a destination wedding that you pick up the housing? Is that pretty standard?
I don't know. This was my first one, but I say if it's immediate family, like it's not a lot of people, but that can add up as well. But
this is my personal. I would say no, it is not the expectation, but I would also say don't expect a ton of people to be able to afford, whatever the cost is. So they may have to say, I can't make it. But maybe I haven't reviewed that in the wedding rules and regulations handbook yet. But I would say you can't expect people to pay $200 or $300 a night. Now, it's Utah, and if a lot of your guests are from Utah and they don't have to pay, for example, for a plane flight over to Kauai and then a week at the at the resort there, you might have a better luck with turnout. But I would imagine that a lot of people would just say, I just can't swing that financially.
Yeah, I don't, and I think that's probably why it was my parents and her parents that kind of split that.
It's very
for
generous.
us. I paid $0 to go to this, but
was it a 1 night or 2 night stay?
It was 2 to 3 actually. I think it was 2. I can't remember. It was more than 1 though. It was great. I loved it.
801-575-TALK. How did you hack the cost of a wedding so you didn't have to pay as much? Did you elope? Caitlin, are you on Team Elope?
I'm on Team Elope with immediate family. They can come. But I just think because I go to so many weddings and because I'm a wedding videographer at times when I want to be, I just see how much effort goes into the wedding day and how busy the bride and groom are that they don't always get to experience it or even remember half the people who are there because the day is going by so quickly. And that's not to say have your dream wedding, please. If you can do it. I know everybody's got their dream wedding.
This is just your opinion.
But my opinion is just, I think that, at least for the ceremony, just keep it simple, keep it intimate. This is how I feel. If you want to have a reception, I would say do it in a backyard somewhere where you don't have to pay the venue fee. Just, I don't know, it's more about the moment and the experience of sharing that with your loved ones instead of just the fancy decor and all of that can go into it. But that's just how I felt, because this is why I always pitch people should get photos done or video, just because you're going to forget a lot of what happened that day. And that's where I come in, and I am a people watcher and I catch those moments that you're missing. So it's just, I don't know. I have been to very low budget weddings and I've been to very high budget weddings. And to me, the moment that matters is just the main intimate ceremony.
I will say, because I'm along, kind of with you, having shot so many weddings myself, the biggest key, I would say, my advice would be, you have to make sure what you value is where you spend your money.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you want a big party, with a reception and a DJ and music and dancing, then awesome. That may mean that you have a pretty scaled back ceremony itself where you get married. If you want to spend your money on the big party afterwards, I'd say that's great. If that doesn't interest you, if you don't want to see 1 million people, then why have a reception, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go all out and have the ceremony itself, have all the bells and whistles, and spend your money there. But I think there's a pressure to spend money on everything, to have the best flowers, to have the best cake, to have the best. And that's where you start seeing, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 weddings.
We're talking right now about the cost of a wedding according to The Knot, which is a pretty popular wedding website. It's $33,000 on average. And the average guest cost is $284 per. They continue to break down like the vendor costs. A reception venue is on average $12,000. So yeah, you have a reception, that's going to be pricey. A photographer, Caitlin, to your point, is almost $3,000. If you have a live band, on average, that's $4,500. So here's one way you can save money if you decide not to go with a live band. The DJ on average is $1,700. So what is your wedding hack? 57500, our text line is lighting up. This texter says, went to Vegas, baby.
Yes.
$1,500 for 2 hours of the venue, location. They said they went to the Venetian. That included photos, a little gondola ride. So they spent $1,500.
I love that idea.
That's your, maybe that's not a full-on elope, but that's kind
of. That's an elope
to
me, but I like it. So.
Well, maybe they invited isn't it an elope or like nobody knows?
Yeah,
and
okay.
You post
well,
on
I'm
Facebook
like
the next day.
Elope
By the way,
with
Mom,
friends
I got
and
married.
Family.
This person, Dave, said they got married in their 40s and they drove to Vegas and they paid $3,500 total.
But ended up winning back $1,500 in gambling. Oh, that's seldom the case. But there you go. You lucked out.
Yeah, but again, somebody else who went to Vegas. This is in terms of like how do you parents talk to your kids. This listener says, tell your child how much you can afford, and if they want something more, they can pay.
Yeah.
If they want less, then they can take the money for the honeymoon or whatever. Hey, Carl. Good morning. How did you hack the cost of a wedding?
Well, our wedding was like 54 years ago. And all we did, we had a temple wedding, then we went and had the reception in her church. And our friends came in there. And then later on, we drove to California and went to Disneyland for the honeymoon in Tijuana. Stayed at my parents' house. I don't think we spent more than $1,500. I think it was a photographer and probably the gas on the trip. Now, things got more extravagant with my kids. Our last child, our son, got married in 21, and they spent $15,000 to $20,000. Wow! They went up the canyon and brought their friends up there, and it was kind of a cabin thing up there. I forgot what it was up the canyon, the name of the place.
Nice.
They went to the temple afterwards, but things are different now than they were back then.
Yeah, they
Seems
are.
like I can't believe how much people are spending on weddings, but I know it's true.
Well, I know it's $33,000 last year on average. Yeah, it's big ouch to the budget for sure.
There's been several studies done over the years that says if you want a happy marriage, have a big, cheap wedding. It's actually inversely proportionate to how much you spend to how long the marriage lasts.
Oh,
And what
yeah.
they found was the cheaper wedding is the longer marriage.
That's because you have to negotiate. With less money, it creates more negotiation and more agreement. You have to come to some sort of an agreement.
Sets a good standard.
Yeah, sets a good standard. Yeah, marriage is a lifetime of negotiations, really. Like, where do you want to go to dinner tonight? I don't know. I want to go have Mexican food. Well, I want to have Italian.
So we end up with Chinese.
Straight ahead, it was 7 years ago that the Supreme Court of the United States issued a decision that opened the door to legalized sports betting. Deseret News opinion editor Jay Evenson explains why this has become one big national fumble. He's up next.
The news of the day lands harder when it affects you.
I really want our stories to focus more on the human element. Focus on how it's affecting the mom and her children. I want us to go more in depth and really take a look at what is at the heart of the story and how does it affect your pocketbook or how does it affect your lifestyle. My name is Maria Chaleos. I invite you to join us from noon to 3 for Midday right here on KSL News Radio.
Spring is the perfect time to refresh your home, and Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning is here to help. Right now, when you get the carpet of 3 rooms cleaned, you'll get an additional room cleaned absolutely free. And for a whole home refresh, take 20% off upholstery cleaning. Unlike traditional cleaners, Zero-Res uses patented ZR water, a powerful cleaning solution that lifts dirt and grime without harsh chemicals or detergents. That means your carpets and upholstery stay cleaner longer and dry in hours, not days. It's safe for kids, pets, and the environment. Plus, every cleaning comes with a Zero-Res Gotta Love It guarantee. If you're not completely satisfied, Zero-Res will re-clean for free within 30 days. Don't miss out on these limited time offers because spring cleaning starts now. Get started today at zerores.com and mention KSL to lock in your deal.
I love learning more about the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. And joining us right now, Joanna Sutherland is the program manager at the Utah Department of Health and Human Services. And we're talking about when it is appropriate to use 988. And Joanna, you said something that was so insightful. You said, you know what? If you feel like you should call it, just do it. Don't overthink this one.
Yeah, we really want to support people. We take a no wrong door approach. There is no wrong reason to call 988. If you feel like you want to call, you should definitely call.
And let's talk more specifically when it comes to a child's mental health. Let's say there's a parent listening who's concerned about, their child's mental health. Joanna, you earlier were telling us you encourage parents to call and that there's these youth stabilization services that are available. So why don't we explain how those can help a family?
Yeah, so the youth stabilization services are designed to make it easier for families to get help. So they're flexible and convenient. Families can receive in-home visits 2 to 3 times a week for 6 to 8 weeks, really it's all dependent on what the family needs. They can also opt for virtual appointments if that's more suitable to what they need. The flexibility removes barriers like transportation and distance, making it easier for families to get the support that they need.
Joanna, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to pick your brain a little bit more later on in the show. But Joanna Sutherland is the program manager at the Utah Department of Health and Human Services. And we're trying to bring some awareness to 988, especially when it regards your children's mental health. But 988 is an incredible resource. It's the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See for full details and disclaimer.
Dave and Dujanovic.
What our listeners need to know is what's going on behind the scenes. We hold weekly meetings on how to do our jobs as talk show hosts, as journalists, better than we did them yesterday.
There's some very conservative voices. There's some very liberal voices. But there is space for both. And we're not at each other's throats. We're not yelling at each other. We're having a discussion.
Listen for Dave and Dujanovic 9 to noon on KSL News Radio.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
You know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
Yeah, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, anything, you need to tell an adult, someone you know and trust. That can be hard, but speaking up about a problem is what helping a friend is all about.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Let me ask you a question. You have a best friend?
How big would it shock you if somebody told you that your best friend just killed somebody?
911, what's your emergency?
Someone on the other line said they kidnapped my son and they're demanding $500,000.
On September 12th, 1995, 12-year-old McKay Everett disappeared from his home in Conroe, Texas. It was a crime that shocked the community because the suspect was so unlikely, so unexpected.
Former high-ranking police official, he'd run for sheriff at one point.
Law enforcement personnel were pretty much split down the middle over whether or not he actually did this.
And to this day, McKay's mother, Paulette, still feels that justice was never truly served.
I've asked myself so many times, what in the world happened?
Ransom is available now. Listen at ransompodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
10:32 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour, Draper City giving the go-ahead for construction to begin to restore a slope and build a retaining wall that collapsed 2 years ago in Suncrest. Ellen Keller lives just across the street from where the slide took place and says she's excited about the announcement.
But we know that we have months of disruption and huge trucks and road closures and noise.
Construction should start in the next 3 weeks, but the city isn't sure how long it will take. Our top story, national story this hour from ABC News. President Trump is in Saudi Arabia today meeting with the country's royal family.
Saudi Arabia was the first stop for President Trump during his first term in office. This trip is again a break from his predecessors who visited traditional U.S. allies, Canada, Mexico, or the U.K. on their first official foreign trips. Saudi Arabia has significant economic influence in this region and has increased its political influence too, recently hosting peace talks between Russia and Ukraine. Karen Travers, ABC News, traveling with the president in Riyadh.
Your money at this moment, the Dow down almost 0.5%, 198 points to 42,211. Coming up, the rain's on its way. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time 10:33.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors to tell you about our 10-year everything guarantee. Most contractors spout off having great warranties that last forever. But those warranties are always, and I do mean always, riddled with loopholes, exception, fine print, and nonsense. At RGS Exteriors, we cover everything. Parts, labor, material, everything and anything for 10 full years. There's no cost to you whatsoever. No hoops to jump through, no exceptions. Yes, the products we sell, like James Hardy Siding, our windows, gutter covers, come with a 25 to 50-year manufacturer's warranty, just like everybody else. But the truth is, the products almost never fail. It's always the labor and material which is never covered, so you're stuck paying for service calls. For peace of mind, call RGS Exteriors. You'll sleep easy for 10 full years. 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's 801-280-3110 or online rgsutah.com. Gutters, siding, windows, and all exteriors with the 10-year everything guarantee.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Here's Heather Kelly.
We don't have too many issues now across the Wasatch Front. Still just a little bit of slowing southbound I-15 as you approach 600 North in Salt Lake City. It's due to lane restrictions. The right lane is blocked just after you pass 1100 North exit all the way to the 600 North exit. So again, that'll slow you down from time to time. And then we just have a few minor fender benders and some stalled vehicles, but they've all been moved off the freeway or over to a shoulder and not slowing anybody down on I-15 or the 201 freeway. Whipple Service Champions, your cooling, heating, plumbing, drains, and electrical specialists. Whipple that away. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, 58 degrees and scattered rain showers this afternoon. Tomorrow, essentially the same forecast, but with a high of 60 degrees. Right now, it's cloudy and 53 degrees. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
It was 7 years ago that the United States Supreme Court issued a ruling. And essentially what it did is it opened the door for legalized sports betting. And Deseret News opinion editor Jay Evenson, these are my words, not his. He basically explains in his latest opinion piece why this has become one big national fumble.
An enormous national fumble. And I come from a family who played, my dad played with the Cincinnati Reds with his first roommate was Pete Rose. We saw Pete Rose's career ruined from sports gambling. And to see the sporting markets embrace it at this level is just such an unbelievably stark contrast between the way we used to look at sports betting and how we have absolutely embraced it today.
And why the fumble? Why is it such a fumble?
Well, first of all, you have 38 states that have legalized it. Utah is not one of them. Neither is Texas or California, interestingly, two very large states. 33 states have legalized online betting. So it's all happening in your phones now. You don't have to go into a sports book. But what's happening, Deb, is the number of people who are addicted to gambling is on the rise, and nobody really has a firm handle on how many these people are. We hear statistics like 0.1% of people. We don't know that, but anecdotally there have been studies that look at Google searches in states that have legalized gambling. The number of people Googling, "I have a gambling problem, what should I do?" has gone up. I mean, it can't be a coincidence. In every one of those states, it's gone up dramatically. In states like Utah, where we don't have legal sports gaming, it has not gone up. So it's clear that more people are having problems with this than ever before, and we're not doing anything about it as a society. We need to take this seriously.
Just like any other addiction out there, sometimes it's hard to figure out when it's a problem. Right, whether it's alcohol or drugs or gambling, is there any good research or studies being done of whether or not, like, you've crossed over from something that's just kind of fun you do on the side to where it's become problematic?
Well, that's a big question, and you could ask the same thing about being an alcoholic or having other addictions. You know, when do you cross over that line? And it's hard to say, but I would say that most people who don't recognize it or refuse to recognize it until it becomes a huge problem. And one of the real concerns with legal sports betting is young people, college people. And there's a recent study that showed, well, this wasn't recent, this was 2023, that showed 67% of all college students are gambling with their phones, sports gambling. And that number has probably gone up since then. And there are all kinds of, you can find, USA Today had a really good story today about this, and they talked to a young man who had this problem. And it was at one point where he was thinking, well, if I just drop $20,000 here, I know I'll win and I'll be able to cover my losses. Mm-hmm. And he realized at that moment that, hey, maybe he had a problem. Now, the ads for the sports books always include an 800 number for problem gambling. But there's plenty of evidence that the sports books are preying. They're trying, using algorithms to recognize people who are problem gamblers and preying on them to try to get them to spend more and more money, including giving some of them VIP status. There was one woman, she got free tickets to the Super Bowl from her sportsbook company, even though she was thousands of dollars in debt. She was a single mother. She couldn't afford this, but they wanted more and more money from her. We need to start investigating this as a country, and frankly, I think it's time for some laws that put curbs on some of this activity.
And I don't know what those would look like, right? I mean, I just don't know what those laws, because I think about people that maybe they're not into sports betting, but they're into, roulette. And so they're driving over state lines to play roulette or pulling slot machine arms. But I guess for me, I feel like the advertisements, every time I'm watching a game on TV, the advertisements are there. Yeah. I don't know what it's like on people's phones because I don't do it, so the algorithm isn't affecting me. But when I'm in the middle of, the fifth inning and they do they drop an ad in there about sport, I think people that are love sports are watching this, and if they don't know about online gambling, they probably already do. This might very well entice them to check it out. And nowadays, it seems like you can bet on everything.
Well, you can bet on fractions of games. They're called proposition bets, and so you can bet on this person's going to strike out or hit a home run at this at bat. It goes like that. When you look at tobacco, for example, cigarette smoking, what did the government do? Well, they curtailed the advertising. They put limits on the advertising. That's what some people are calling for these sports bets as the first step to limit the advertising.
The biggest problem I see with sports betting is not the addiction of the gambler. It is the compromise to the game. That is fundamentally, I think, what owners and what the NBA, NFL, everyone is just turning a blind eye to, because these are billion-dollar deals that they're making with these gambling companies. They're taking the money, they're like just raking in this, but they have to understand fundamentally you are going to compromise the game with this proliferation of gambling. Especially to your point with prop bets. Prop bets are very easy to manipulate. If you say, hey, I think Dave Noriega is going to strike out, I can strike out pretty easily. Like, that's an easy one to manipulate. If you're betting on the length of the national anthem, I can slow down the length of the national anthem.
Well, it sounds like what you're saying is this brings into question all of these things.
Exactly. If I can't trust that the players are out there doing their best, playing their hardest, and not being influenced by gambling, then what are we doing? And that's why sports for so long has had this almost maniacal aversion to gambling, and to see the about face is absolutely shocking to me.
Yeah, and virtually every major sport has had some type of a gambling scandal in the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how that compares to before, but I don't remember hearing about stuff like that before. And so they really have to take care for their credibility. And taxpayers do too. I mean, how much money are we spending renovating the Delta Center and putting redoing all of downtown?
Billions
of
we're
dollars.
Investing billions on this bet.
If people lose all faith in the fairness and credibility of sports, it'll crumble quickly.
It ends.
It'll become big time wrestling, and then what happens to all that money that we've invested?
Complete loss. Jay Evenson, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you check out Jay's opinion articles. This one is great on gambling at Deseret.com.
Straight ahead, fire investigators zeroing in on a cause of that major house fire in Daybreak on Mother's Day. The flames were just billowing off the side of that house. What we know about where the fire appears to have started, and the warning that's now being issued from firefighters about lithium-ion batteries.
The main character in every news story is a real person.
I want people who listen to Midday to listen to the show and think it is about them. They're hearing a story that touches them in some way.
The main character in every news story is you.
Whether it is their pocketbook, whether it is their child's safety, people should hear something that is more thought-provoking.
Midday with Maria Chaleos. All new noon to 3 on KSL News Radio.
One of my favorite things about Mountain Home Services is they are experts in so many different ways. They've brought together a couple of great companies, and they can help you with your air conditioning, your plumbing, your electrical.
That's right. I mean, just think of that. It's kind of like one-stop shopping. And that comes with that upfront pricing guarantee that you and I have talked so much about. Means the price that they quote you up front is the price you pay when the job is done.
And that is so beneficial, because when you ask somebody to come out and give you a bid, you start making your decisions around that bid. You just expect them to honor it. Well, that is often not the case, where perhaps it takes a little longer than they expected. They try to upsell you on certain things. When I get a bid, I want that bid to be spot on, and that's what Mountain Home Services offers.
Yeah, no hidden fees, 100% satisfaction guarantee. So make sure you give them a call, ask about the special offer for KSL listeners.
801-543-2222. That's an easy number to remember. 801-543-2222.
Or you can actually look them up online as well at mountainhomeservices.com.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for.
Hit it. It's time to spring into summer with Soda Weight Loss, because right now you'll get our biggest discount of the year.
Are you serious?
Yeah!
Just 3 weeks in, and the pounds are dropping off very quickly. I am down 26 pounds in 3 weeks.
Every single day, Soda Weight Loss is helping people let go of the weight. Without drugs, without hunger, and the weight stays off.
I let go of 50 pounds. It felt unreal. I was so proud of myself. My body did exactly what it wanted to do. I just gave it its tools.
Let's spring into summer right now with Soda Weight Loss. If you want to look like this for summer, now is the time to join America's #1 weight loss company for client satisfaction and results.
Remember, this is our best offer of the year, so let's go.
Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Any Hour Services can help unclog any drain in your house. Whether you have a backup, a clog, or a slow drain you want fixed, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know, I don't live far from this pretty massive house fire that happened on Mother's Day, David, about 6:30 in the evening. I happened to be driving up to the Walmart just to run a quick errand, and I saw all kinds of fire trucks. I'm like, what is going on out there? It's in daybreak. And there's an ambulance, some fire trucks. I could smell smoke, and I was like, oh, no. So they're trying to figure out the exact cause of it, but let me read what the press release says here. They said the final determination of the fire remains under investigation, but preliminarily, the findings suggest that the fire likely originated on the side of the home where lithium-ion battery-powered equipment was stored.
And that is just about every battery in my house.
See, I was like, well, okay, what does that mean? And then they go on to say the batteries are commonly found in e-bikes, power tools, laptops, scooters, and other electronics. So I was like, oh, well, what do I have in my garage that is powered by a lithium-ion battery?
I've got an EV, an electric vehicle.
Yeah, you do.
Those are lithium-ion batteries. I've got, I'm finishing my downstairs right now. I've got probably 3 or 4 batteries plugged in at all times. And this is one of those things that I never think about. I never think about having them plugged in too long.
I have one of those hedger things. I don't know what the right word is. You go out and you trim the bushes with it. And I leave that thing plugged in.
All the time, right? You'll use it maybe once every couple weeks, if that.
Fortunately, everybody inside the home out in daybreak got out. Thankfully, they said they had working smoke detectors, and so they were able to get out. It also happened at about 6:30 on Sunday, so, at night. So that's, to some degree, like, thank goodness everybody's probably awake, and it wasn't 6:30 in the morning. It was at 6:30 at night. But then they sent this long list of things to be concerned about when it comes to lithium-ion batteries. It says always follow the manufacturer's instructions. Purchase and use devices that are listed by qualified testing laboratories, such as Underwriters Laboratories. I'm like, oh, okay. Only use the battery that is designed for the device. Only use the charging cord that came with the device. Do not keep charging the device or device battery after it is fully charged. Now, these are just,
Guilty.
And these are just recommendations generally for all of us to follow. We're still trying to figure out what the exact cause was out there in daybreak, but do not keep charging the device or device battery after it's fully charged. How do you do that? Because if you plug in, like, for example, an electric vehicle, then you go to work, or electric bike, and you go to work, you got to remember to unplug the thing.
Yes. And how many alarms are you going to set? You're going to set one for your electric vehicle, your bike, your drill,
this
your
is
Sawzall.
Unfortunately a cautionary tale, and it's not just what went on in Daybreak on Sunday, but also in Kearns. Unified Fire Authority Captain Jen Bevan, good morning.
Good morning.
So there was another apparent lithium-ion battery issue that burned some structures in the Kearns area this week. Tell us about that.
Okay, so I don't have the details on that one. I know they were investigating it, and so I don't know all the details on that one. But what I can tell you is what you guys were just talking about the biggest thing for us is we want the public to know to partner with us and properly store, charge, and dispose of these lithium-ion batteries because they can be hazardous. And me personally, I have scooters at home, and I charge them. And like you were saying, overcharging them or leaving them plugged in after the battery is fully charged can be a problem. And so I don't ever plug mine in and leave them charged. If I'm leaving the house, I will unplug everything before I leave because it's just good practice to not leave them plugged in when they're not attended. So yeah, the biggest things are use the proper battery that goes with the equipment and the proper charging tools, and then store them properly and then dispose of them properly. Those are the biggest things that we can tell you as safety concerns. And then also, if you're looking to dispose of the batteries, take them to proper locations to do that. And where some of those are is the Trans-Jordan landfill out in West Jordan, and also the Salt Lake Valley landfill will take them. The Home Depot in West Jordan and the DeWalt factory in Salt Lake City. All of those will accept rechargeable batteries for disposal.
Does it cost?
I'm not sure about that. I don't know if there's a fee that goes along with that.
Well, at least there's a place, right? I mean, at least there's a place to take them, and I love that tip. We're talking right now to Unified Fire Authority Captain Jen Bevan about lithium-ion batteries because we've had 2 reported fires this week in the valley apparently maybe related. We're trying to figure out, but certainly fire officials issuing, a word of caution to homeowners about these. And these are things like the batteries that charge our electric bikes. Dave has one in his car. It could be a scooter. And by the way, that Kearns fire, it turned out that it damaged 4 sheds, and it looks like it maybe affected several different properties out there. So thankfully, no residents were hurt, no injuries there. So but it seems like these things, if that is indeed what is causing that, these burn really pretty quickly, I guess.
They do. They go up fast and they burn hot. So the biggest thing is just for me, I feel like leaving them unattended while they're charging is problematic. And so if you can unplug them and not charge them when you're not at home, it's best as a safety issue.
Captain Jen Bevan, thank you for joining us from Unified Fire Authority.
Yeah, that's good information. Yeah. Do you have anything else besides your car and a couple of, you don't have electric bikes?
No, I don't have electric bikes, but I just think of all the tools that I have plugged in and leave plugged in all over the place.
I don't even want to. Oh, okay. We're going to continue to track developments on both of these stories throughout the day right here at KSL News Radio. Of course, you've got Maria's show, Middays with Maria Chaleos, and then right after that, Jeff Kaplan takes over the microphone at 3. Straight ahead, a tax bill proposal that calls for no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. Let's talk about it next.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. For years now, I've been telling you about Connecticut soft water systems that use 2/3 less salt than the others. But I've never told you exactly how they do that. Well, There are several ways, so consider this as part one in a series. Most of the softeners out there use a finicky, hard-to-adjust computer to guesstimate when to cycle, and it errs on the side of cycling too often, which means it'll burn through way too much salt way too soon. Kinetico is different. It has an all-mechanical system that measures the water precisely. No computer, no guesstimating, so it cycles only when needed. The result? Kinetico delivers perfectly soft water 24/7 using minimal salt. So why not save your lower back from carrying the 3 bags of salt when all you need is 1? Call Northern Utah's authorized Kinetico dealer, Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake. Call them now, 801-576-8600, or log on to softwaterutah.com and tell them Doug sent you.
With the help of Utah Department of Health and Human Services, we want to bring more awareness to 988, the Suicide and Crisis Hotline. And Joanna Sutherland's joining us right now. Joanna, Debbie and I were just talking about this off air. We thought, can we address, if I dial 988 and there are services, is it free? Do I have to pay for these things?
That is a great question, and the answer is yes, it is free. All of the services offered through 988 are free. So calling 988 itself is free. The mobile crisis outreach teams, whether it's for an adult or a youth, is free. The stabilization services for youth are free, as well as our crisis centers. If you need to go to one of the crisis centers, those are also free.
So if you're a parent who's listening to this, Joanna, and you're concerned about your child's mental health, you're encouraging parents to pick up the phone and call 988.
Absolutely, yes. Like I mentioned earlier, there's no wrong reason to call, and even if you're just calling to get some information, that's a great reason to call.
So if I have questions, is there a website, or should I just call 988?
Yeah, so we recently launched our Utah-specific website. So it's 988.utah.gov, and there's all sorts of information on that website, information specific to children, youth, and families, and then also just general information.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Joanna Sutherland, Program Manager at the Utah Department of Health and Human Services. 988 is the number you can call, but there is this great website, 988.utah.gov.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot doot, and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th. At your local Camping World.
See with the full details and disclaimer.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Mom and Dad used to argue about everything, especially about Dad's drinking. My family went from totally crazy to quiet, calm, and even peaceful when Mom started going to Al-Anon family groups. I wanted a better relationship with Dad, so I asked Mom if she would take me to her Al-Anon meetings or to Alateen. I'm sure glad I did. Is someone's drinking troubling you? You might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon or Alateen family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-ALANON or go to alanon.org.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home,
You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
.02 at KSL News Radio. I'm Jessica Lowell. KSL's top story this hour. 2 people were shot by officers overnight in separate incidents along the Wasatch Front. Let's begin with the shooting in Ogden, where the suspect is now in the hospital.
Ogden police say it was around 2 a.m. when an officer saw a man walking around 22nd Street and Wall Avenue. After talking to him, the man reportedly pulled out a pair of knives he had been hiding in his pockets. He ran towards the officer with them, leading the officer to then shoot him. He was taken to the hospital where he's now being treated. The Weber County Attorney's Office will be investigating the incident, and the officer has been placed on leave. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
A man was also shot by a police officer last night near 6th West and 1st South in Salt Lake City. Police claim the suspect fled from a scene, and when the officer tracked him down, a conflict led to at least one shot fired by the officer. That suspect is in the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Your money at this moment, a mixed day on Wall Street. The Dow down 204 points. The NASDAQ up 325. Coming up, this cool front is sticking around. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:03.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Are you looking to invest in your home, increase its livability, increase its value, increase its curb appeal? Well, doors and windows are a great place to start, and there's no better place to start than Peach Doors and Windows.
Maybe the purpose of your home has changed. Maybe you're an empty nester, or you just want to maximize the view of your home. Bring Peach your wish list. Think about out-of-the-box shapes and sizes. What you can imagine, Peach Doors and Windows can make happen. They can do renovations that other companies simply won't touch.
You can check out all of their 5-star reviews on Google, where customers rate Peach throughout every step of the process. From sales to installation, they will make sure you get exactly what you want. Check out their website at peachbuildingproducts.com. You can give them a call, 801-566-1255. They do free in-home estimates.
Or better yet, check them out in person, 2940 South, 300 West in Salt Lake City. They're open 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday, or check them out online, peachbuildingproducts.com.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s. And less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
Do you currently use a CPAP machine to treat sleep apnea? Are you looking for a smaller, more comfortable solution? Consider a custom-fitted oral appliance from Sound Sleep Medical. In many cases, these appliances can be as effective as CPAP, and oral appliances are usually covered by insurance or Medicare. To make an appointment or to learn more, call Sound Sleep Medical at 801-285-9731. That's 801-285-9731, or visit soundsleepmedical.com.
Behold, 'tis I, Queen Trustworth, sentinel for seniors amongst the knights of Scamelot, here to give thee warning. Scams and fraud are on the rise in Utah, and seniors are especially under siege. Be wary of unsolicited texts, phone calls, and salespeople asking for personal or financial information, and never send money to someone thou hast only met online. If thou hast doubts, talk to someone thou trusteth and get educated at scams.utah.gov.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Here's Heather Kelly.
We've got a disabled semi in Parley's Canyon. This is eastbound I-80 right as you merge on from the Mountain Dell Golf Course area and try to head up that hill toward Lambs Canyon. It is blocking the right lane and shoulder. Everybody's having to move to the left, and it's slowing you down quite a bit through that area. We also have a few brake lights southbound I-15 coming into downtown Salt Lake. We have lane restrictions between 1100 North and the 600 North exit that is blocking the right lane. Traffic's rough, but your parking lot doesn't have to be. GoPave Utah keeps things smooth with expert asphalt maintenance at gopavutah.com. That's gopavutah.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Cooler temperatures are here, and so is cleaner air. We could see some scattered showers today and some chances of storms tomorrow. Temperatures will stay in the 50s and 60s for at least the next few days. Right now, it's 53 degrees and cloudy. I'm Jessica Lowe from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com, we're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, Dave and Dujanovic, special coverage of the top national story.
The House Republicans have unveiled at least some framework regarding taxes, and one of the things that they're looking at doing potentially is cutting taxes on overtime. Another thing they're looking at doing is cutting taxes potentially on tips. Another thing they're considering, Dave, is expanding the child tax credit from $2,000 to $2,500. So the question that it's raising is, where does the makeup money come from?
Is there going to be any money left? There already is not any money left in the federal coffers. We spend every penny that we receive, plus almost $2 trillion. So when you start giving out more and more tax cuts, you're just reducing the revenue, which doesn't work unless you're massively reducing spending by the same amount of trillions of dollars, which we are not doing.
In a moment, we'll go live to Washington, D.C. and News Nation to ask that question. Like, where does the makeup money come from? So for the campaign trail, President Trump has been advocating for no tax on tips.
In the coming weeks and months, we will pass the largest tax cuts in American history, and that will include no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. It's called the One Big Beautiful Bill, and it will be the biggest bill ever passed in our country's history.
Now, I believe you said something to the effect of, there's no way that'll ever happen.
I totally thought it was just pandering. I did. I thought it was like, hey, we're just going to throw out one of these crazy ideas. We're going to just randomly eliminate taxes for who? Who do you think we ought to? Servers? Okay, let's do it. Let's give servers the break. Well, what about the rest of us? Nope, just servers.
I don't know that this will affect just servers. Maybe we can ask the reporter from News Nation in just a few moments about who this will impact. Joe Khalil is going to be calling in. He's the Washington correspondent. Because think about all the people that do collect tips. Like, I tipped the tow truck driver who came to the rescue of my daughter and I on the side of the road a couple of weeks ago when we were driving home from Phoenix. I mean, of course, something in the road caused me to completely blow my back left tire. That was fun. So I was sitting on the side of the road. And by the way, that's when you realize how fast everybody's going, including those tanker trucks and semi-trucks. I wanted to cry. I didn't. I waited until we hit a snowstorm on that donut tire. And my daughter's like, stop crying, Mom. I'm like, I'm not crying. I'm weeping. But anyway, the tow truck driver showed up, felt like he'd saved the day. So I gave him a $40 tip, cash. Didn't Venmo it, so there's no digital footprint.
You're encouraging bad behavior. I love it.
I always carry cash on road trips for moments like this. So I don't know, does it affect him too?
Okay, so this is interesting because if he received $40, if you receive more than $20 in a month, you're supposed to report it to your employer. So the fact that he got a $40 tip, he should report it to his employer, who has to track how much money he makes in tips so that they can tax them. Here's the thing. Nobody's doing that. There are like very, very few people. In fact, the IRS estimates that 84% of servers, they're speaking of servers, don't fully report how much money they make in tips.
Well, maybe this is an acknowledgement of that.
Yes.
This proposal is an acknowledgement of that. Finally, after hundreds of years of servers getting tipped.
And not claiming their tips.
And not claiming it. Also, when we spoke earlier to Billy Husterman, president of the Utah Taxpayers Association, about his analysis about this legislation, or this proposal, I thought he brought up a good point, is that servers, many of them don't make enough money to really file federal taxes. So think about, people who are serving. Sometimes it's a second job. Sometimes they're college kids. Maybe they're not working a 40-hour week. I'm sure there are people out there who treat it as a career, and they're brilliant at it. They're serving at high-end restaurants, but a lot of servers, it might be a second job for them. They're having a difficult time making ends meet, and so they take a job serving, and now they've got to worry about amassing a spreadsheet with the $5 tip I left them. So I think they're not making enough money to file tax. So how much are we losing ultimately anyway as a nation in the federal budget by not collecting these tax on tips? I don't know how much that's going to work out to be.
The IRS estimates it's $500 million a year. Which when you're talking about...
That sounds like a lot of money to my budget, but I mean...
For the federal budget, yeah, it's a rounding error for the feds, right? They spend so much money. So $500 million, perhaps it is just kind of closing a loophole that no one was obeying anyway. So the no tax on tips, is that really going to change anything, with servers? Well, this is where I see some of the danger coming, is which companies, which industries are now going to switch to a tip-based economy, so to speak. So think right now, if you get your food delivered, say you order up some pizza, they deliver the food, you tip that driver, right? Every time. Mm-hmm. Like if someone's going to Grubhub you or DoorDash you, you're going to tip that, right? Do you tip your UPS driver? Mm. No, because we tip on food delivery. We don't tip on package delivery. So is that going to change the world? Are we going to have to start tipping our UPS or United States Postal Service, Amazon Prime?
What do you mean? They get paid an hourly wage, right?
Yeah. So if I'm a company, if I'm Amazon Prime, maybe I move over into this world of tipping where it's not just a shipping fee, but it is a tipping fee as well. And we already feel over-tipped, don't we?
Well, but that hasn't happened yet. This is just your thought about what the potential could happen. Maybe.
Yeah, obviously.
This is a thought.
Yeah, and we'll see it. But why wouldn't you take advantage of this if you're a company? Why wouldn't you look at it and say, wow, if my employees don't have to pay taxes, if we can create some sort of tipping structure, then this is awesome. Then you don't have to pay taxes.
Yeah. Well, we don't know if that's going to be part of this or not. Let's figure out what is part of it. Washington correspondent Joe Khalil for News Nation standing by live for us. So hit the highlights, Joe. I'm sure we can't go into every detail on this, but I'd also like to know, how are they going to make up the money they're not collecting from, if, for example, overtime, if this indeed goes into effect, or taxes on tips. So why don't you go for it?
Yeah, so that is the billion, maybe $1 trillion question of how they make that up. So the highlights big overall. Republicans are trying to cut $1.5 to $2 trillion in spending. They're going to, at the same time, try to put tax cuts worth anywhere from $4.5 to $5 trillion. So, and then this bill also funds adds more money to defense and like the border security. So you're right. There's a big deficit there because we're losing money that we're not taking in with the big tax cuts. How do you pay for the tax cuts? That debate is at the center of where Republicans are right now. They're trying to figure that out. Some of the proposals are, Medicaid is on the table. They've been very careful to say we're not cutting Medicaid, we're not cutting services. Democrats are arguing, yes, you are. Republicans are saying we're reforming Medicaid. They're going to try to cut waste and fraud and abuse in the system anywhere from $500 to $800 billion worth. That's one big area where you could try to save that money. Again, how you do that, that is an important question. The other big piece that they're looking at here, the Energy and Commerce Committee, taking a look at other kind of entitlement programs. So those are all potentially on the table for how you find cuts in this way. And lastly, I'll just add the Trump administration is trying to look at things the Biden administration spent on climate-related things, hundreds of billions of dollars, to maybe end those programs, end those tax credits for pro-climate. And in that way, they're also trying to claw back some money that would be used to potentially pay for the tax cuts.
For part of this multi-billion-dollar budget proposal, this would also extend the Trump tax cuts from Trump 1.0, right? I mean, Trump 1.0 kind of revolutionized a lot of the tax code, simplified it in many ways, but this extends it, correct?
It would. So the tax cuts that Americans across the board got in 2017 would be extended if this bill passes in its current form. The question becomes, there have been discussions about on the very top, highest earners, millionaires. President Trump himself has not denied this. In fact, he's said it out loud. They were considering even a tax increase on millionaires, multimillionaires, which sounds like a Bernie Sanders talking point. President Trump floated the idea of talking about considering it. I think where they've landed now, and everything is ongoing and could change, is the top earners will not get a tax cut. Everyone else, their tax cut would be renewed. Which again accounts for some of the $4 trillion in cuts that Republicans now are looking to pay for. You've got a lot of really fiscally conservative Republicans who say we're not down for the tax cuts unless we match it with spending cuts. Because as much as everyone loves tax cuts, they're really popular politically. Some conservative Republicans do not want to increase our national deficit, and that is again part of the major debates that we will see play out in just about an hour from now.
News Nation's Washington correspondent Joe Khalil on the line with us, talking about this budget proposal that includes tax cuts on tips, tax cuts on overtime, expansion of the child tax credit, and among other things in this proposal. Joe, is there any major pushback that's coming from any side on this?
Yeah, there is. There is significant pushback. So you talked about all these things President Trump promised on the campaign trail, right? The no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime. Again, those things seem widely popular. But when it comes down to the nitty-gritty of how you actually get those things done, what the laws look like, which industries on tips do you tax and do you not tax, those things are sparking serious debate among Republicans. The cuts potentially to Medicaid, serious debate back and forth. It's gotten very heated among Republicans. Some say we only want up to $500 billion in cuts. Others say it needs to be $800 billion. Those are big differences. So those debates have been had. There's serious pushback from within Republicans. The last thing is your state and local taxes, SALT. If you're anything about the SALT debate, and in a nutshell, that's, if you come from a high tax state, you used to be able to deduct a lot of your state and local taxes from your federal. You could write it off. You can't do that anymore. They cap you at $10,000 for that. So Republicans from states like California and New York, and there are more than you'd think, they're saying unless we change that, we raise that cap so that our constituents back home can deduct more of their state and local taxes, it's a high burden for them. We're not voting for this bill. And we've seen several, even right now as I'm talking to you, Republicans committing not to support President Trump's quote-unquote big, beautiful bill unless that SALT cap is raised. So there is a lot of pushback from a lot of people within the Republican side. They're trying to get their own house in order. And then, of course, there are some that just say it doesn't go far enough, doesn't cut spending far enough. So there are others, too. Leadership is working hard to balance all these different interests now.
And Republicans can only stand to lose a handful of votes if you have some people breaking off. 3.
Yeah, 3. That's it. So not a whole big margin there. If they lose 3 votes, you add that to the Democratic side, none of whom are going to vote for this bill. That is it. It will fail. So the margin for error here, if you're Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, if you're President Trump, is razor thin. And again, you've got people from New York who feel certain ways and people from Texas who feel a totally different way about how much you cut, how much you spend. So it is not an easy job for them. And by no means are they where they need to be today in order to move the bill forward.
Joe, before we let you go, I just need a little context because we always are talking about continuing resolutions, right, where it seems like Congress kicks the can down the road with a stopgap bill. Is this an effort to replace the continuing resolution and get something long-term in place?
So this is a bit of a separate situation. You're right. Whenever government funding runs out, typically Congress is supposed to have an annual funding bill. It's actually a series of 12 bills, and that will fund the government. They fail to do that year after year after year, and they pass what they call continuing resolutions, which just keeps current spending levels where they are for X amount of months, more time to negotiate for Congress. This is different. It's called budget reconciliation. Mm-hmm. It's a process where they can, it's a big bill. You can only do spending things. It's got to impact spending or taxes. So it's kind of a separate animal in itself from the government funding, the CRs. And it's unique because this process actually allows the Senate to pass the bill with just 50 votes instead of 60 votes. They can't do 1 million of these. They're limited. You can only do 1 or 2 of these a year. But if they pass it through the House, it's easy to pass through the Senate because, you only need 50 instead of 60. I know that's very processy and nerdy and wonky, but essentially it's just an easier path for President Trump to get a lot of his priorities done, to do it this way through this vehicle. So that's why they're doing it this way.
Joe Khalil, thank you so much for joining us, Washington correspondent. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, story that we'll continue to track with the help of our friends at News Nation and also, of course, Maria. Middays with Maria Chaleos coming up at noon. She'll have more on this along with Jeff Kaplan from 3 o'clock on for your drive home. Straight ahead, second-hand shopping, Dave, is on the verge of a breakthrough, and I couldn't be happier about this. Like I have been saying for years and years and years, if you want to save money in your budget, you gotta buy secondhand. So let's go over why I'm so thrilled about this and the story that I saw in the Wall Street Journal in just a moment about thrifting. But also I've put together, I like to think I'm an expert thrifter, a list of items that I will never thrift in a million years and the items I always thrift. Next.
The main character in every news story is a real person.
I want people who listen to Midday to listen to the show and think it is about them. They're hearing a story that touches them in some way.
The main character in every news story is you.
Whether it is their pocketbook, whether it is their child's safety, people should hear something that is more thought-provoking.
Midday with Maria Chaleos. All new noon to 3 on KSL News Radio.
If you have a family member that is struggling with addiction, a loved one that is struggling with addiction, just know you are not alone. There are so many people that have been exactly where you are. So if you're looking for some resources, if you're looking for somebody to help you out, give you some guidance, let us tell you about Renaissance Ranch.
It's great because they offer these free family support services online. They do classes. They're practically every single day there's a class, a free online class. And the great thing, if you don't have to have a family member enrolled in Renaissance Ranch to join. Why? Well, because they want to help the entire community. And you can attend as many of these classes as you want to.
And the reason they offer these things is because the research has shown that when you have family members, you have loved ones that are involved in the recovery process, the chances of a positive outcome skyrocket.
Yeah, think of classes like that are taught from a spousal perspective or a parent's perspective, even a personal perspective.
I'm looking at a women's addiction recovery group that is available today at 7 o'clock. You can join by Zoom. Make sure you learn more about these free online classes. Again, open to the public. Go to renaissanceranch.com.
It's hard to believe, but summer's right around the corner. Make sure your home stays cool with a brand new air conditioner and get a free furnace for next winter. That's right. When you purchase the premium air conditioner or heat pump from Whipple Service Champions, you'll get a brand new furnace absolutely free. You just pay for the labor to install. This deal won't last long. Schedule your free estimate today. Book online at whipplethataway.com. whipplethataway.com.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-783-8055. 800-783-8055. 800-783-8055.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
This Friday, join KSL News Radio and NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Then, browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes a new inventory every day. Then, they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. You're invited to visit the movie show this Friday from 10 to 1. And that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit npsstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. npsstore.com.
Think you've seen it all? The 2025 venue is prepped. The athletes have trained. Food's on standby. The weekend and weather are clear for the event to be epic. It's the 2025 Soldier Hollow Classic Memorial Weekend, May 23rd through 26th. The greatest value for families and fun. Experience some of the best entertainment and athleticism as they test the boundary between canine and human bonds. Plus, the festival. Amazing food and merchandise, bagpipes, demonstrations, activities, and great sponsors. Presented by Purina Pro Plan. A weekend filled with value and family fun. Nestled in a redesigned Olympic venue. Soldier Hollow. 4 days of adventure, competition, animal and bird demos, plus much more. Something for everyone. The Soldier Hollow Classic Sheepdog Championship and Festival. Presented by Purina Pro Plan. Nutrition that performs. Powder River. Exclusive livestock and canine equipment sponsor. IFA Country Stores. Helping to grow the things you love. Visit SoldierHollowClassic.com. SoldierHollowClassic.com.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
Jeff Kaplan. When you're online, that's sometimes a source of fourth-hand information. Somebody does the reporting. Another website Googles, they find it, they rewrite it, and by the time you read it, you know the old game telephone. But KSL is a source of primary information. We have reporters on the street. They're out in the field finding out the details. And the difference between online and KSL News Radio, night and day.
Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Heather Peterson. KSL's top local story. It's been at least 6 months since the new Great Salt Lake license plate got enough applications to move forward, but still nobody has received their new plate. Utah DMV Director Monty Roberts says the plate still needs to pass a new legislative design review board before they can start making them. But once that happens, it should only take a few weeks to start rolling them out.
I would imagine, given the delay, that we'll, do our best to try and get it in our system as soon as we can, because we know people are waiting.
Roberts says the plate sponsors and the board have also been considering some different designs, which could also be contributing to the holdup. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Wall Street strategists are feeling better about the economy and have raised outlooks for the U.S. markets. This comes on the heels of a new trade agreement between China and the U.S. ABC News chief business correspondent Rebecca Jarvis takes a look at what that means for prices.
Even with the relief, Americans still set to face price increases. The tariffs, previously estimated to cost an additional $4,900 per household, but with the reduction, it's now $2,800.
The new deal rolls back tariffs from Chinese imports from 145% to 30%. Government data shows egg prices have declined for the first time since October. The average price for a dozen grade A eggs fell to $5.12 last month after reaching a record of $6.23 in March, according to the Consumer Price Index released today. The Dow, looking at the markets right now, the Dow is down 170 points. The S&P 500 is up 58 and the NASDAQ is up 336. Coming up, the cooler weather is here to stay throughout the week. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:31.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Do you need new windows? Look, all glass pretty much looks the same to the naked eye, but if your windows aren't triple-coated, argon-filled and sealed double-pane glass, the cold is seeping in. You need to call Advanced Window Products. They use the highest quality glass and premium vinyl to create state-of-the-art windows and frames, and for 38 years, they build those frames right here in Utah. Custom crafted for Utah's climate. The best windows you can buy at prices 30 and 40% less than what the big companies charge because they cut out the middleman. They're the factory. They even give you a lifetime warranty, and right now as we head into spring, save an extra $2,500 off 10 windows or more. Custom windows that'll give your house a fresh new look and save you money on your heating and air conditioning. Advanced Windows offers 60-month 0% financing, even buy now, pay later, and an extra $2,500 off. Call for a quote. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Here's Ricky Meese.
We've had a stalled vehicle in Parley's Canyon, so if you are traveling on I-80 going eastbound, you'll see this semi just in the center lane of traffic. This is between Mountaindale and Parley Summit. And right now, no backups, but do use caution and get over into the left lanes while UHP sits behind it and waits for crews to get there and get it moved out of traffic. In the valley, we have an accident blocking lanes of travel, and traffic control may be in place at Redwood Road and 2nd South. When you take UTA, you can do just about anything while you ride. You won't even notice all the traffic you're missing. Plan your trip at rideuta.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Chances of showers today and tomorrow. Temperatures will stay in the 50s and 60s for the next couple days. Right now, it's cloudy and 53 degrees. I'm Heather Peterson from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Let's go right on the money, shall we, and talk all about thrifting, because I've been saying for years that buying things secondhand is the way to a better budget. And now caught this article in the Wall Street Journal saying that the resale economy is loving some really significant growth. I think there's a lot of reasons why. We can chat about some of those, but I'm also going to give you the list of things I always thrift and things I will never thrift. I consider myself an expert, Dave.
I'm an expert in one item and one item only, and that is furniture. I thrift furniture.
You do?
I do. I don't think we've purchased a couch from a big box store in 20 years. I want all of your, your cast-offs, folks.
Oh, that's something we don't see eye to eye on.
We'll part ways on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so my wife probably wishes I was more like you, but I've done it for a long time. We've had some good luck. We've had some terrible luck as well. But I think rolling the dice, thrifting, it's worth it because you can get it for so much cheaper.
Yeah. And a lot of people are leaning into that. Wall Street Journal is saying that, like, in some cases, thrift stores are finding themselves like rolling in it. That's good. Sales up in March. Sales are up in April. And sales are up year over year for some of these stores, like significantly up. Like one store, ThredUp, which is a platform. It's a resale I think it's an app. I like to go in person, so I don't use the apps for that. But ThredUp, they're up 95% year over year. Mm-hmm. So that's an incredible. I mean, it's just incredible. I think inflation has driven us to find ways to a better budget, and thrifting is one way we do it. And you see that through online classifieds. We held a big neighborhood yard sale the other day. They called me yard sale now. So people were coming around looking for secondhand items. I had a lot of success selling some of my stuff there. But also these stores, I find them to be, quite busy. When I pull in the parking lot, I'm like, we're all getting into the thrifting thing now. Do you think? I mean, I would imagine it's not just me trying to save money, but you're trying to save money too.
Yeah, I'm doing it for a little bit bigger items. You use it, I think, more for.
I'll give you. Yeah, I'll give you.
You
my
have
list
a
in
big
second.
list
Yeah.
of things.
What
The question I would have, though, when it comes to thrifting, and you'll largely use stores. You use stores.
Yeah,
a
I
lot,
like to
right,
see it in person.
You like to see it in person.
Yeah.
I shop online, but
sure.
Eventually I'll see it in person.
You will.
As I'm picking it up. But when you go there, do thrift stores, do they pay you for items, or do you donate it
I
and
just
then
donate
they turn
them.
it over?
I donate.
Okay.
Yeah, I donate them. You can do consignment. Like you have a nice sofa that you want to make a little money on, you can go to a consignment store and cut a deal with them. They'll keep a portion of whatever they sell it for. And the nice thing about consignment stores is, I've bought furniture from consignment stores. And the nice thing about that is you don't have to have people coming to your house. Maybe I'm not home right now, right? I'm not going to be home for a few hours. So, people will be texting me through the show or something like that. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't get home. And then something comes up. So the consignment store will keep it on the floor, and then they'll take a cut of whatever they sell it for. The other thing I like about consignment stores, they're in the business of consignment. So they know when your leather sofa that's been on their showroom floor for 30 days is rotten away. And they're like, hey, we need to lower the price on this. Mm. So they've got a good idea of the industry. And then they're also drawing people to the store, right? So, I that's what that's all about. But you use largely like online.
Yeah, I'll do Facebook Marketplace. Mm-hmm. I'll do KSL Classifieds. That's what I use.
Have you ever bought something that you're like, oh, that was a summer bummer. I should never have purchased that.
We bought a couch.
What?
Yeah, we bought a couch that was leather-ish. It was leather-ish.
My husband and I would call that pleather. We call that pleather.
We get into the house. It looked great. It looked fantastic. What we didn't realize is the sun had done so much damage and made it so brittle. After a few months, we're sitting in there and it's just flaking off and breaking and cracking. Like, this was a terrible.
That would hurt.
Terrible
You couldn't wear shorts.
No, it was awful. It looked horrendous. And then, but because we had purchased it online, it's buyer beware. We're not returning it. If you buy it at a store, then we easily could have returned it.
If they have a return policy,
you're rolling the dice, though, right? There was no warranty on this.
What about that headset you bought?
Oh, I bought some Beats, like a nice
Those
set
are
of.
good.
Yeah, they
I
were
like
good.
Those, yeah. Are they the ones that go over your ears or the ones that go inside your ears?
They were over the ears,
so nice
noise canceling over the ears. Bought it at a pawn shop. It was, really good deal. It was like $75 instead of the regular $300. As soon as I put them on my head, I pull them out to, put them over my head, and they snapped in two. Because they had glued it together. They'd done a professional job gluing it. It looked amazing. But as soon as I pull it over my ginormous watermelon head, it explodes into a million pieces.
So you couldn't glue it back together?
No.
Did you get it?
Exploded.
Did you just like, oh, I'll just eat the cost, lesson learned?
Yep.
How much did you pay for those used? Do you remember?
$75.
Oh, because sometimes you can go on like Amazon or Walmart or something like that and get those, or Target on a great deal, for about the same price.
Now this is back when they were cool, expensive, and not on sale.
Right. So here's my list of things that I always buy while secondhand shopping. And again, I go in person. I'm not a great Facebook Marketplace shopper. I sell things from time to time on that, but I'm not a great, I'm going to run to Jenny's house in Saratoga Springs to see if I like that bistro set she's selling. That just is not something I do. I will go to any store, and I will thrift all day long, but I won't go to Jenny's house, look at whatever she's selling. So here's things I absolutely buy at thrift stores. I look designer clothing. I will absolutely buy, as long as it's priced right.
You know what you're looking for.
And I know what I'm looking for.
Okay.
And so if you're going to charge me the original price for something you wore for 10 years or somebody wore for 10 years, no way. Designer clothing. So, you can make up a brand. I'm looking for it. And sometimes you can get with a tag still on it. That's when it feels like a real score. When it's your size, it's the length you need, the tag is still on it, and designer, it's like, well, that's it. I'm going back to bed for the day after I bring this home because victory. Yeah. I'm exhausted from this victory lap.
How do you know if they're fake or not?
I think there's probably some high-end designer bags, things like that, like purses and things that might be fake, but you can just you can tell if the tag's still in it. If you've shopped enough, I hate to even say that out loud. If you've been around the block enough at the malls, what tags to look for. I always buy books. I have more books than I'll ever be able to read. I love looking for old books. I have a collection of really, really old books, and sometimes I look at the copyright date and I just smile because
You like old books.
It's been around for more than 100 years. I'll always buy purses when I'm shopping. Well, I'll absolutely buy a purse if it's in good shape. Home decor items, 100%. Paintings, yes. And I don't mean prints. I mean paintings. I don't care if your grandpa did it in the back shed. If it's an original oil painting, it is going in my home. I have a list of things I'll never, ever buy. I'll tell you at the top of that list is something you always buy. I'll never buy something with a cushion on it. A sofa, sorry, Dave, a chair. If it's got a cushion, I'll never buy it. But my list is longer than that. I want to know from our listeners, what's that one thing you will never, ever, ever find yourself thrifting? You don't care how good of a deal it is. I'll give you the rest of my list. It's kind of long. For as much as I love to thrift, there's some things I'll just never buy. 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. What's that one thing you'll never buy? Let's take your live calls next.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Utah's life sciences industry is a key driver of our state's economy, and BioUtah serves as its dedicated trade association, working to ensure the state remains a leader in life sciences innovation. President and CEO Kelvin Colomore joins us with more.
As one of the fastest growing biotech hubs in the nation, Utah's life sciences industry generates over $22 billion in GDP, 182,000 jobs, and wages at nearly 50% higher than the state average. This industry is comprised of medical device and diagnostic manufacturers, pharmaceutical companies, medical labs, and research facilities whose products touch millions of patients each year and help fuel the Utah economy. BioUtah members include medical device manufacturers like Merit Medical, BD, Stryker, and Fresenius, medical laboratories like ARUP and Nelson Labs, and pharmaceutical developers Teva, Denali, and Halia Therapeutics, among many others. Utah punches well above its weight in bringing innovative medical technologies to patients worldwide, such as brain and computer interface technology from BlackRock Neurotech, innovative heart valve replacement systems by Edwards Life Sciences, AI for enhanced drug discovery by Recursion, and Usano's radioisotope technology, and so much more.
BioUtah is on a mission to build awareness and advance Utah's innovative, patient-focused life sciences industry. Through their work, they're making a real difference in the lives of Utahns. Learn more at bioutah.org today. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
The power of we believes in you. It advocates for you. It completes your circle. It makes sure you have the strongest circle possible. And with Intermountain Health in yours, you'll always have the care you need to live the healthiest life possible. That's the power of we. Intermountain Health.
If you've got a honey-do list with electrical, plumbing, heating, or air conditioning projects on it, Any Hour Services can help. Call Any Hour Services, electrical, plumbing, heating, and air. anyhourservices.com.
David Dujanovic.
What's that one thing you never, ever, ever catch yourself buying secondhand, at a thrift store, whether that's, in person or maybe it's online? Give us a call. What's that one item? 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. We're talking about thrifting because the Wall Street Journal has reported there's been a decent-sized uptick in the number of people who are buying stuff secondhand.
Yeah, can't tariff something that's secondhand. That's already here. You can't tariff that thing. So, yeah, you're getting it for a deal. I think a lot of us, especially with the change of KSL Classifieds, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, it's very much changed the way we look at our old stuff. It used to be, let's just donate it to DI. Let's just send it off to Goodwill, whatever it might be. Now we're able to make a little bit of money off our old stuff.
Well, and I think the gist of this is we're able to save money in our family budget by buying things secondhand. I said before the break, I'll never catch myself buying anything cushioned secondhand, a sofa, a cushioned chair, not even bedding. I won't buy bedding secondhand just because I just can't bring myself to do that. Kind of don't know where it's been.
You'll wear other people's clothes, but you won't sit where they've sat.
I will buy something that's made of wood because I can clean that off. And I can sit on it then. I won't buy rugs secondhand because, again, a lot of people walk on rugs. Anything that will, luggage-wise, that will go through TSA. If I'm stopped with a secondhand piece of luggage that the dog hits on, that puts myself. I get myself in a real jam that way. So I buy my luggage brand new, always on sale. I've got more on the list as well, but let's get to the phone lines, Dave.
Let's jump out to Michelle in Orem. Michelle, what will you never buy? What will you never thrift?
A car seat.
Oh,
ever.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I have little kids, and I know what they do to car seats, and I cannot imagine putting my little baby in a used car seat with French fries and crayons and everything else in it. There's just no way.
Yeah.
You know what? That's a good point.
I would also add this, and thanks, Michelle. I think that's actually, it's a tip. I did a story back in the 90s when I was the consumer reporter. I think we called it Consumer Watch back in the day at Channel 4 News here in town. And we talked specifically, we did an in-depth report on car seats and secondhand car seats. And it is not only, like you said, French fries and crayons, totally get that. Mom of three, myself, I know exactly what they drool all over those car seats. But also, is the car seat properly functioning? And that was some concerns of the car seats that we spotted at some of the secondhand stores or being sold secondhand, is that perhaps they weren't functioning properly because they were used. So thank you for that. I think that's a great tip. Kelly in Ogden, will you not catch yourself buying secondhand?
Furniture.
What's that?
Furniture.
Oh, yeah. Well, I buy stuff that's I have a chair at one point that's wood, like an older chair that's wood. Are you talking more like cushioned, like sofas me? Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. My sister weighs about 380, and she can't find clothes, so she sits on it naked with a blanket wrapped around her.
All right. Thank you for the call.
That was very descriptive, Kelly. My goodness. Maybe we don't need all the details, folks. We don't need all the details. Mike in West Jordan. Follow that one, Mike.
Laughing from that last one. I
I think I have to side. Usually, Dave, I side with you on most of the stuff, and every now and then I sprinkle a little bit of Deb. But
I
gotta agree with Deb.
Mike, thank you. High
There's
five.
something about something, and furniture. I'll do, tables, dressers, absolutely, but couches. Yeah, and for the previous caller's sake alone, I think I'd have to say for sure.
I think you may have won me over too. I may have purchased my last sofa.
Well, at least secondhand.
Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. So, but again, let me just go back to my original point, folks. Y'all buying clothes. You're buying clothes, but you're drawing the line at sofas. You can wash a sofa as well.
Well, I do buy clothes secondhand.
Oh.
I buy a lot of sweaters and I buy a lot of jackets secondhand. One of the jackets, the thick winter coats that I wore on a lot of my live shots for KSL5 television, it was great. It was just a really sharp looking winter coat that we bought off of KSL Classifieds, and this was probably 20 years ago. I remember my husband running me to the house because we bought it at a house, and he was like, "We want to make sure everything's safe," and it was great. And I still have that today. It's held up really, really well. It's got like a down lighting and everything, and we paid a lot less for it than we would have paid for it, like an actual retail value kind of price. So.
I'd like to go back to the sofa thing and a chair thing again, just one more time. Listen, all of you guys shaking your head. How many times have you gone into somebody's house and you sat down on their couch? All the time. You don't think a single thing about it. You guys are like conjuring these crazy little things in your mind, except for Kelly. Kelly, I 100% believe you. And yeah, I'm not buying that couch from your sister.
Wall Street Journal is talking about the fact that they've done an article on the fact that there's been an uptick in people wanting to buy items secondhand. This is totally up my alley. I love talking about this with people. I have done social media videos about this because I feel like it is a way to a better budget for some items, not everything. For example, I will not buy a coffee pot secondhand. I will not
Coffee pot?
Yeah, I will not buy a blender secondhand. Most kitchen utensils I will not buy secondhand. I have some guardrails on this, and I don't know where it's been, who's used it.
A blender?
Yeah. The other thing with coffee pots is they can get kind of fickle. Is that the right word? Especially those one-cup coffee makers. Some people use them to make hot tea. Some people use them to make hot chocolate. Some people use the little cups to make coffee with. And boy, when those things start going downhill, you got to start descaling them and everything like that. So I'm really in blenders and all that. I just don't want to use secondhand whatever people have used to whatever they've made their food in. So I don't buy those secondhand.
Every time you go to a restaurant, you're using somebody else's cup.
You're justifying this for me. Like, I'm going to run out this afternoon and buy a blender at the local thrift store. I just not. So there's just guardrails, Dave. Most kitchen utensils, I will not. The other thing is a restaurant has some standards, right? Your home kitchen has no standards.
Just boil some water.
Look, I just know that sometimes I will occasionally grab a kitchen knife to open up a paint can. You know what I mean? Who among you hasn't used a kitchen knife for a home project? And you're like, I'll just wash it in the dishwasher and throw it out, or put it back in the drawer. So straight ahead, Maria's got an update for us, starting midday with Maria, of course, her great news show that airs weekdays right here from noon to 3. A dangerous encounter in Ogden overnight. Man was shot by police early this morning, and Maria has the details on that.
The news of the day lands harder when it affects you.
I really want our stories to focus more on the human element. focus on how it's affecting the mom and her children. I want us to go more in depth and really take a look at what is at the heart of the story and how does it affect your pocketbook, or how does it affect your lifestyle. My name is Maria Chaleos. I invite you to join us from noon to 3 for Midday right here on KSL News Radio.
Hey, let's talk about water softeners. You may not realize this, but Utah has some of the hardest water in the entire country. That's why water softeners are so popular, is because we all love the benefits that soft water give us. The biggest reason my wife and I got a Connecticut water softener was because dry skin. This is something, especially in the winter time, that you've all experienced, right? It's just dry skin. Water softeners have made such a difference in our family. It doesn't feel like we have to bathe in lotion. And Connecticut water softeners are so efficient. They're different than most other water softeners. It's an all-mechanical system. It measures water use precisely. There's not a computer that you have to set up or reset. There's no guesstimating. It cycles when you need it. And what that does is it gives you 24/7 perfectly soft water, and it does it efficiently using minimal salt. It uses 2/3 less salt than other water softeners. So go ahead and reach out to Connecticut. Call Northern Utah's authorized Connecticut dealer, Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, right now at 801-576-8600. That's 801-576-8600. Let them know Dave sent you, or you can check it out online, softwaterutah.com.
Are you looking for the perfect downtown lunch spot? The Garden Restaurant at Temple Square is opening on June 30th in Salt Lake City. Enjoy a reimagined space and a fresh, healthy menu featuring handcrafted sandwiches, rich soups, unique salads, and their famous homemade pot pies. You'll see and taste the difference in every menu item. The Garden is perfect for lunch meetings, taking a break while out shopping, or a spring stroll downtown. Visit the reimagined space with remarkable taste. Grab and go or stay and dine in using a new online ordering option. Find entry from the ground floor of the Joseph Smith Memorial Building, open Monday through Friday, 11 to 3. Visit thegardenslc.com to learn more. Fresh flavors, iconic location. The Garden Restaurant at Temple Square is opening June 30th. Hope to see you there. thegardenslc.com.
Summer is right around the corner.
It's time to spring into summer with Soda Weight Loss. Today is a new day.
And a big day for you.
Why?
Why?
Because right now, you'll get our biggest discount of the year.
Do you know how good it feels to let go of 51 pounds of belly fat? And I did it without drugs, shots, or hunger. Because Soda Weight Loss works. Just look at all the Google reviews and all the thousands of before and after pictures.
Soda Weight Loss has one goal, and that's to help you let go of the weight for good.
So I lost 25 pounds. I was never hungry. It was very, very easy. I couldn't believe how fast the weight came off.
Now is the time to join America's #1 weight loss company for client satisfaction and results.
Hurry. Savings won't last long.
Let's go.
Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
The murder of two men forces their families to wrestle with impossible questions. Who is forgiveness for? Does everyone deserve a second chance? Follow Season 2 of The Letter, Ripple Effect, at theletterpodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time is 12 o'clock noon. This is Midday. I'm Maria Chaleos. KSL's top story this hour. A dangerous encounter in Ogden overnight where a man was shot by police.
We are waiting for police to reveal more details. That is happening at this moment. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera is live outside the Ogden Police Department with what we know so far. Eric?
Maria, this was a scary situation. Just after 2 a.m., an Ogden officer spotted a man walking in the street near Wall Avenue and 22nd Street. Police say when the officer approached, the man pulled out 2 knives from his pockets and started moving towards him. The officer told him to stop, but when he didn't, the officer fired his gun. The 37-year-old man was rushed to the hospital. He's expected to survive. The officer is now on leave, and the Weber County Attorney's Office is taking over the investigation. We just wrapped up the press conference. Unfortunately, no new details at this point, but they did say that they're going to hold another press conference in the next few days. Reporting live, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
There was another officer-involved incident overnight in Salt Lake City. A man was shot by police near 600 West and 100 South. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has details.
Salt Lake City police tell me this started around 11 o'clock when an officer tried pulling someone over, but they say the driver did not stop and crashed before police found that car unoccupied. Investigators say an officer later found a man on the tracks, but they say he took off. That's when they say some kind of encounter happened between the man and that officer, and the officer fired at least one shot. We don't know yet what that encounter was, whether the man was armed, but I'm told the officer did sustain minor injuries.
The man is now in the hospital with what police say are life-threatening injuries. We'll have all the latest on these shootings on our website at kslnewsradio.com. We are learning more about a shooting that happened in Kearns on Saturday, but the victim and the suspect are 17 years old. Right now, the victim is in critical condition. Unified Police believe that the shooting is gang-related. Everyone is able to return home safely after a structure fire in Kearns last night. It was started by a lithium-ion battery. Unified Fire Authority says a charging lithium-ion battery was likely the cause for a shed fire, which quickly spread to 3 other nearby sheds because of the high wind. Unified Fire Captain Jen Bevan told David Dujanovic some good practices when charging electric bikes, scooters, and other devices.
I charge them, and like you were saying, overcharging them or leaving them plugged in after the battery is fully charged can be a problem. And so I don't ever plug mine in and leave them charged. If I'm leaving the house, I will unplug everything.
Some other tips: don't use an extension cord, don't leave them charging overnight, and keep them away from combustible materials. There's a lot of dust and haze in the air today thanks to yesterday's windstorm, and it's had a big impact on air quality, especially in the southern portion of the Wasatch Front.
We've reached the orange and even red, which is unhealthy for sensitive groups, but then downright unhealthy, which is red, in Utah Valley.
KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says the good news is we should see the air clear up later today, with rain expected to fall this afternoon and evening. Temperatures are also going to be a lot cooler. Highs today are only expected to reach the upper 50s here in Salt Lake City. KSL's top national story this hour: President Trump is in Saudi Arabia as part of a 3-nation Middle East tour. He received a warm welcome full of pomp and circumstance from the country's crown prince.
In addition to purchases of $142 billion of American-made military equipment by our great Saudi partners, the largest ever, this week there are multi-billion-dollar commercial deals with Amazon, Oracle, AMD, they're all here, Uber, Qualcomm, Johnson & Johnson, and many, many more.
This is the president's first major overseas trip aside from his travel to Rome for the funeral of Pope Francis.
Saudi Arabia was the first stop for President Trump during his first term in office. This trip is again a break from his predecessors who visited traditional U.S. allies, Canada, Mexico, or the U.K. on their first official foreign trips. Saudi Arabia has significant economic influence in this region and has increased its political influence too, recently hosting peace talks between Russia and Ukraine. Karen Travers, ABC News, traveling with the president in Riyadh.
The Senate Minority Leader says he'll place holds on nominees to posts in the Justice Department unless the administration shares more details on its plan to accept a luxury jet from Qatar. The plan would serve as Air Force One until it's given to Mr. Trump's Presidential Library Foundation just before he leaves office.
The top Senate Democrat says the offer of a free Qatari 747 doesn't just amount to naked corruption. Chuck Schumer also says it constitutes a national security threat. And he says Attorney General Pam Bondi should appear before congressional committees
to explain why gifting Donald Trump a private jet
does not violate the Emoluments Clause.
Schumer says unless he gets more answers, he'll move to slow walk the confirmations of Justice Department nominees. Democrats on their own can't block them, but they can drag out the process. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
First look traffic. Good afternoon, Ricky.
Good afternoon, Maria. We have a stalled semi blocking right lanes eastbound I-80 near Mountaindale and the cleanup of a crash with possible injuries. Redwood Road at 200 South. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
The most important part of all our news stories at KSL are the people involved. Introducing an expanded new news show. Listen to Midday with Maria Chaleos. Listen in your car between noon and 3 on KSL News Radio.
Troy, can you believe Memorial Day is almost here?
Pretty exciting.
Pretty exciting?
Yeah.
That's all you got for the official start to camping season and our entire reason for living?
I am excited, yes. What do you want from me?
Get pumped, man. It's camping Christmas. Kind of a big deal.
Oh, it's a huge flippin' deal. That's why Bish's is already celebrating Memorial Day with big deals on all RVs. We're selling travel trailers starting under $139 per month on approved credit.
And don't forget no tariff fees on new in-stock RVs.
Plus 90 days of all play and no pay OAC.
And clearance pricing on all remaining 2024s while they last.
We're even delivering select RVs same day so you can camp right away.
Same day camping? That is a big flippin' deal.
Told you, camping season is a big deal. So come get the real big deals during the Memorial Day sales event happening right now at Bish's RV of Salt Lake and American Fork, where memories begin.
Based on approved credit, 20% down, 8.99% APR for 180 months. Stock numbers 90452-81733. Subject to prior sale. See dealer for details.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Teens can get up to $200 with a Teen Learn and Earn account. Plus, continue earning rewards as they master the essentials of finance. More at cypresscu.com/teen.
Thank you for joining us for Midday. Recapping our top story this hour, there were 2 officer-involved shootings overnight, one in Salt Lake City and one in Ogden. Both men who were shot survived, but they are in the hospital. KSL News Time, 12:08. Secretary of Health Robert F. Kennedy Jr. wants to get rid of ingestible fluoride supplements. It comes after Utah's law banning fluoride goes into effect. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
A big argument for the bill was that anyone who wants their children to have fluoride would be able to give them supplements, and pharmacies would have an easier time giving them out. All of that could change by the end of the year. Assistant Director of the Utah Dental Association, Becky Waters, says they were already expecting to see a 25% increase in decay rates in areas that used to be fluoridated.
If we remove the ability for supplements, it's going to go higher because those people that are in the areas that weren't fluoridated and were giving those children supplements, they're going to lose that ability and there's going to be more decay.
Waters says a total lack of fluoride enables teeth to decay earlier, and children will be more likely to get cavities earlier in life. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
University of Utah will be participating in global research looking for ways to stay healthy as you age. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has more.
The university's Data Coordinating Center is partnering with XPRIZE HealthSpan, helping a global competition that is looking for studies for healthy living. The goal is to add up to 20 years of quality living to a person's life. The center will be collecting competing teams' data before processing and analyzing it. The Associate Vice President for Research at the center says they're excited to join in the effort to provide better quality of life for people around the world.
The competition will last 7 years, and the winner will receive $101 million. Utah is the best place to be if you are experiencing a stroke. KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson has more.
Getting fast treatment is one of the most important factors in treating a stroke. And medical director of the Comprehensive Stroke Program at Intermountain Medical Center, Paul Johnson, says they've been working hard to be as fast as they can.
We have worked very closely with the EMS crews, with the ER doctors, with our nurses in the ER, to make sure that we shave off every minute that we can.
The American Heart Association says Utah leads the nation in getting life-saving medication to stroke patients within the 45-minute recommended time window. Johnson says every minute that a patient goes untreated, they can lose valuable brain cells. Healthcare providers in Utah have been able to do this over 87% of the time. Britt Johnson, KSL News Radio.
The Weber Morgan Children's Justice Center will officially open this month. The facility is meant to make the investigative process easier for victims of crime, helping children meet with investigators and team members after allegations of abuse. The ribbon cutting is scheduled for May 22nd. Traffic and weather together, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Here's Ricky Meese.
For those who are traveling Parley's Canyon, we do have a stalled vehicle in the right lanes of travel eastbound I-80 near Mountaindale. Just be sure to merge out of that right lane in order to get around it, and you should be just fine. Now, for those who are traveling the Redwood Road area in Salt Lake City on the west side, we had an accident at 200 South involving a semi and a motorcycle, and we did have police officers on the scene trying to get traffic through the area while they worked on the accident. That's in the cleanup stages, but we've seen some northbound delays in the area. Also, an accident reported northbound Bangerter Highway just after the 21st South Freeway at 1820 South at that intersection. That has been moved out of traffic to the right shoulder. Whipple Service champions your cooling, heating, plumbing, drains, and electrical specialist. Whipple that away. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Temperatures will be running much cooler today. Highs topping at 59 and a chance for showers. 43 in the overnight, couple of showers possible. 60 tomorrow, scattered thunderstorms likely. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And those dark clouds have moved in. 51 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. Coming up on midday with Maria Chaleos. Wind, rain, and some bad air quality. We'll talk about it all with the National Weather Service. Coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Think you've seen it all? The 2025 venue is prepped. The athletes have trained. Food's on standby. The weekend and weather are clear for the event to be epic. It's the 2025 Soldier Hollow Classic Memorial Weekend, May 23rd through 26th. The greatest value for families and fun. Experience some of the best entertainment and athleticism as they test the boundary between canine and human bonds. Plus, the festival. Amazing food and merchandise, bagpipes, demonstrations, activities, and great sponsors. Presented by Purina Pro Plan. A weekend filled with value and family fun. Nestled in a redesigned Olympic venue. Soldier Hollow. 4 days of adventure, competition, animal and bird demos, plus much more. Something for everyone. The Soldier Hollow Classic Sheepdog Championship and Festival. Presented by Purina Pro Plan. Nutrition that performs. Powder River. Exclusive livestock and canine equipment sponsor. IFA Country Stores. Helping to grow the things you love. Visit SoldierHollowClassic.com. SoldierHollowClassic.com.
Healthcare with human kindness is here. It's at Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Together, we have a common purpose, partnering with you in health and healing using powerful medicine, powerful technology, and the greatest power of all, human kindness. You'll know it when you see it, because human kindness is in every care site and in every caregiver. Common Spirit Health. Hello, human kindness.
Behold, 'tis I, Queen Trustworth, sentinel for seniors amongst the Knights of Scamelot, here to give thee warning. Scams and fraud are on the rise in Utah, and seniors are especially under siege. Be wary of unsolicited texts, phone calls, and salespeople asking for personal or financial information. And never send money to someone thou hast only met online. If thou hast doubts, talk to someone thou trusteth and get educated at scams.utah.gov.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See dealer for full details and disclaimer.
KSL News Time 12:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy wants to get rid of ingestible fluoride supplements altogether. It comes after Utah's fluoride ban made it easier for pharmacies to give them out. I'm KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla.
Second, a man is in stable condition in the hospital after being shot by police in Ogden overnight. Police say he came at them with knives. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
A crash northbound Bangerter Highway just after the 201 junction on the right shoulder. Also on the right shoulder, an accident in West Valley, northbound I-215's West Belt at the 3500 South ramp. Again, out of traffic to the right. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll be 30 degrees cooler today with a high of 59 and a chance for showers. I'm Matt Johnson.
51 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. At an economic forum in Saudi Arabia, President Trump announcing Saudi Arabia has pledged a $600 billion commitment to invest in U.S. ventures. He also says Saudi Arabia could be a stabilizing force in the Middle East against Iran if it joins the Abraham Accords, which establishes diplomatic and business relations with Israel. ABC's Karen Travers is in Riyadh.
He is touting the economic cooperation that can be done between the two countries. That is the whole purpose of this trip, the singular top agenda item for the president, trying to increase investment in the United States and economic ties between wealthy Gulf nations and the United States.
President Trump will also be in Qatar this week and is expected to accept a luxury jet from Qatari leaders. The White House says that plane would serve as Air Force One and then be transferred to the future Trump Presidential Library Foundation when he leaves office.
The top Senate Democrat says the offer of a free Qatari 747 doesn't just amount to naked corruption. Chuck Schumer also says it constitutes a national security threat. And he says Attorney General Pam Bondi should appear before congressional committees
to explain why gifting Donald Trump a private jet does not violate the Emoluments Clause.
Schumer says unless he gets more answers, he'll move to slow walk the confirmations of Justice Department nominees. Democrats on their own can't block them, but they can drag out the process. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
The U.S. economy showing some early impacts of those tariffs. Analysts are concerned about month-to-month inflation.
The consumer price index fell 0.1% between February and March, but last month it rose 0.2. At the same time, though, the April to April figure has beaten the Wall Street consensus, rising 2.3%. More than half of last month's increase came in the housing category.
ABC's Jim Ryan. Storms on the march again today, targeting the mid-Atlantic states, along with severe flood alerts posted. You're listening to ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. There's still some leftover haze in the air today after yesterday's windstorm, and now we are seeing cooler temperatures and rain in the next few days. Joining me now live is Monica Trapp-Hagan, senior meteorologist with the National Weather Service. Monica, thanks for being with me. Now, this air quality has been really awful for the last 24 hours. Why is that, and when is it expected to clear, maybe is the better question.
What we're seeing is blowing dust. You know, as you recall yesterday along the Wasatch Front, it was quite windy ahead of the cold front that ended up coming through last night. And you could really see that cold front coming through because it brought up the dust even more. But behind that front, with the cooler temperatures, with the winds decreasing, we should see the dust in the air has decreased, I should say, significantly, and will continue to do so.
Those winds in our area last night were pretty hefty. I mean, what did we see?
Yeah, there was throughout the day and along the Wasatch Front, we had a lot of wind gusts in excess of 40 miles per hour, including getting into the upper 50s miles per hour at Salt Lake Airport for a time.
Mm-hmm. So we have some dark clouds now out there for sure. Tell us a little bit about the weather patterns that we're seeing right now.
Sure. So, behind that cold front, we have the main storm system, the Pacific storm system. It'll be pretty slow moving. So we'll see showers filling in this afternoon, have it on and off through Wednesday, and then we'll stay relatively cool and unsettled for much of the remainder of the week, with the potential for another storm system to impact the area this weekend.
Big drop in temperatures today. How typical is this type of trend for this time of year?
Well, with spring, we typically get our ups and downs, and while we're a little bit below normal, 5 to 10 degrees, it seems like a lot more than that because over the weekend, for example, at Salt Lake, we almost hit 90, which is about 20 degrees above normal for this time of year.
Yeah. Monica, I appreciate your time. Thanks for being with me.
Hey, no problem. Have a good one.
You too. Live on the KSL Newsline, that is Monica Trapphagen, senior meteorologist with the National Weather Service. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Ricky?
Delays in Parley's Canyon on the eastbound side of I-80, about halfway through the canyon. It's all due to a stalled semi in that right lane near Mountaindale, or just past that. And then with these lanes blocked, we're starting to see the backups. But the good news is to be able to move a big rig, it takes a special tow truck, and that tow truck has arrived. They're getting it hooked up and loaded, and hopefully those right lanes will be opening up any moment now. But if you happen to be traveling Parley's Canyon, just be aware you'll see some backups as you're approaching Mountaindale. Now, here in the valley, crews have cleared the accident at the ramp of the West Belt at 3500 South. Really didn't cause any problems, but we still have crews working to clear a crash in West Valley, northbound Banketer Highway, just after the 201 junction. It's also out of traffic on the right. If you're traveling the main flow of the Valley freeways, you have good speeds and no other issues. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find a location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, starting out with some afternoon showers today, high of 59. 60 tomorrow, scattered thunderstorms. We'll go 65 on Thursday, mostly cloudy, and a 30% chance for some showers. Mostly cloudy, 69 on Friday, Saturday 75 and dry, then another storm Sunday and Monday with a chance for showers. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Dark clouds in downtown Salt Lake City and 51 degrees. The 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. We have a mixed day on the markets. A complete update of your money news is coming up next.
Do you need new windows? Look, all glass pretty much looks the same to the naked eye, but if your windows aren't triple-coated, argon-filled and sealed double-pane glass, the cold is seeping in. You need to call Advanced Window Products. They use the highest quality glass and premium vinyl to create state-of-the-art windows and frames, and for 38 years, they build those frames right here in Utah. Custom crafted for Utah's climate. The best windows you can buy at prices 30 and 40% less than what the big companies charge because they cut out the middleman. They're the factory. They even give you a lifetime warranty, and right now as we head into spring, save an extra $2,500 off 10 windows or more. Custom windows that'll give your house a fresh new look and save you money on your heating and air conditioning. Advanced Windows offers 60-month 0% financing, even buy now, pay later, and an extra $2,500 off. Call for a quote, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Watching Utah's Money, the largest firefighters' labor union in the U.S., is demanding the cost of fire trucks be investigated. Union says the companies that make the trucks are pricing them too high, they take too long to make, and it's endangering the public. Ziploc is dealing with a class action lawsuit over claims that their baggies have undisclosed microplastics that mislead and harm consumers, seeping into the food stored inside them. The FDA has not released any official warning about the products. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is down by 175 points, about 0.5%. It sits at 42,234. S&P 500 up by 54 points. The Nasdaq at this hour up by 328 points.
Jeff Kaplan.
His Minute of News is great. It's always entertaining.
I listen to Jeff Kaplan every day. He gives you important news and traffic and the familiar voice that helps you enjoy the ride home.
I really like Jeff's Minute of News. He's calm and he's balanced.
I really enjoy driving home and just listening to what he's got to say.
Jeff Kaplan gets me home every day.
Join the community that relies on Jeff Kaplan. He has you covered. Afternoons from 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Does your job require you to be on your feet all day? Teachers, postal carriers, salespeople, and restaurant staff. Many of us need our feet to get us through the day. Hi, this is Mike with the Good Feet store, and I'd like you to hear from Donna. She's a nurse and a real customer of the Good Feet store who wanted to share her story.
Oh, I have to tell you, I have struggled with pain in my feet. I was diagnosed with plantar fasciitis. With the 3-step program, it really fits to your lifestyle. I work in a hospital. I'm a registered nurse, so being on my feet, walking throughout the hospital during the day, I am free from any type of pain. And after working a 12-hour shift, I go home and my feet do not hurt.
Whether you're a nurse or anyone wanting to enjoy work without your feet getting in the way, come see us at the Good Feet store.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Schedule your free test walk at goodfeet.com.
Join KSL, or actually join Ton and me for the KSL Greenhouse Show this Saturday, 8 to 11 at Sutherland's, 1780 West North Temple. From 8 to 11, spring is here. Transform your garden into a vibrant oasis today. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Here's Ricky Meese.
Well, good news. They're opening up that right lane of traffic as the disabled semi is being pulled away eastbound I-80 just after Mountaindale, and the delays it was causing are starting to ease. The final cleanup of a crash in West Valley northbound Bangerter Highway after 2100 south. It's out of traffic on the right shoulder, so it really hasn't been causing any issues. Now, we do have a right lane partially blocked southbound I-15 with road work, and this is as you're approaching 6 North. No delays today. But a KSL listener saying traffic's been a little bit busy and bunched up and slow southbound I-15 near the point of the mountain. No real reason for that. I've not been able to see it yet in the cameras. It looks like traffic is starting to move again through the area without issue. When you take UTA, you can do just about anything while you ride. You won't even notice all the traffic you're missing. Plan your trip at rideuta.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hey, look for a high of only 59 degrees. That's 30 degrees cooler than yesterday. Chance for showers by afternoon. Overnight, 43 degrees, maybe a stray shower possible. By tomorrow, scattered thunderstorms, high of 60. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Mostly cloudy, 51 degrees downtown. It's cooler, but not that much cooler. In Provo, 53. In Park City at this hour, it is cooler at 42 degrees.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Chaleos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time, 12:30. KSL's top story this hour. The owners of the Provo Town Center Mall say they need a major overhaul and they want to create a mini town in place of what they have now. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
The plans sent to Provo City include tearing down a large section of the current mall and creating an outdoor walkable plaza surrounded by retail and restaurants. They also say it would be mixed in with office space and housing. The Daily Herald reports the stores that would stay include Target, JCPenney, and Cinemark. But the future of the other businesses, that's up for negotiation. The mall owners, Brixton Capital, says this is all needed to keep up with the times. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
It's been about 6 months since the new Great Salt Lake license plate got enough applications to move forward, but all the people who want one still don't have theirs. KSL News Radio's Adam Small explains why.
The plate design still needs a final approval from a legislative design review board, which I was told was expected to happen several months ago. We're not sure all the reasons why that hasn't happened yet, but Utah DMV Director Monty Roberts tells me one reason for the holdup could be because the plate sponsors have been debating between a couple different designs, like whether to have the image take up the whole plate or sit on the left side.
Certainly understands the concerns and things that way. I do think that the committee's trying to get it right because, it's difficult to send something out just to kind of pull it back.
Though Roberts says once the final design is approved, it shouldn't take long to make the plates and get them out to people.
I would imagine, given the delay, that we'll, do our best to try and get it in our system as soon as we can because we know people are waiting.
More than 500 people signed up and paid a $46 fee for those plates. All that money will go towards protecting and preserving the Great Salt Lake's water and ecosystem. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories. Wall Street strategists are feeling better about the economy and have raised the outlook for the U.S. markets. This comes on the heels of a new trade agreement between China and the U.S. ABC News chief business correspondent Rebecca Jarvis takes a look at what that means for prices.
Even with the relief, Americans still set to face price increases. The tariffs, previously estimated to cost an additional $4,900 per household, but with the reduction, it's now $2,800.
The new deal rolls back tariffs from Chinese imports from 145% to 30%. Americans are paying about 2.3% more for just about everything than they were a year ago. ABC's Jim Ryan has more.
Overall, food prices fell last month by a fraction, but some grocery items saw a dramatic decline. The cost of a dozen eggs, for example, fell more than 10% as the effect of avian flu eased. Still, egg prices are almost 50% higher than in April of last year.
This was a slightly lower rise in the consumer price index than economists were expecting. The tax cuts for certain types of income proposed by congressional Republicans could create a larger national debt. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly explains.
The U.S. has been going deeper and deeper into debt over many decades. The president of Utah Taxpayer Association, Billy Hesterman, says it could also take decades to turn the trend around.
There's not going to be one or two levers we can pull that are going to fix this problem.
Hesterman tells Dave and Dujanovic the budget issue is so complex we can't just cut a few programs and everything will be fixed. He says it's up to the American people to elect officials who will make balancing the budget a priority. Otherwise, the countries who've been buying our debt could come back and threaten damage on the U.S. for non-repayment. Heather Kelly, KSL News Radio.
Doctors have found a nodule in the prostate of former President Biden. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy has more from Washington.
A spokesperson says the small nodule was found in Joe Biden's prostate during a routine physical. The aide says the discovery necessitated further evaluation, declining to offer any additional details. It's not clear when the exam took place, but the 82-year-old former commander-in-chief told ABC's The View last Thursday.
I'm well. The family's well, thank God.
Medical experts say prostate issues in a man of Biden's age are common, and nodules are in most cases benign. But they could also indicate something more serious, including the possibility of prostate cancer. Only further testing can say. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Senator John Curtis is part of the lawmakers introducing a new bipartisan bill to strengthen water quality and storage infrastructure across the western U.S. It mirrors another bill going through the House. In a statement, Curtis says that Utah's rapid population growth is placing significant pressure on community water resources and that this bipartisan legislation would make it easier for local governments and utilities to invest in critical water infrastructure projects. An old mine in San Juan County could be reopened to help build fighter jets. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
The U.S. Department of Interior says they plan to review reopening the old Velvet Mine for critical minerals. Deseret News reports they plan to complete the review in just 2 weeks. They would be looking for uranium and vanadium, both highly needed by the U.S. military. Vanadium is used to strengthen steel and as an alloy and metals used to build fighter jets and commercial aircrafts.
Uranium can be used as fuel in U.S. Navy nuclear reactors and adds in producing nuclear weapons. First look traffic. What's happening, Ricky Meese?
Well, all lanes of traffic are now open eastbound I-80, approaching and passing Mountaindale, and the delays have cleared. And we're in the final cleanup of the crash northbound Bangor after the 201 junction. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:36.
We have your news and weather all morning and all afternoon. And now, 3 hours of news about the people of Utah. Join us for Midday with Maria Chaleos, expanded to noon to 3 on KSL News Radio.
At Trio Senior Living, older adults aren't slowing down. They're just getting started. The Prime Fit Wellness Program expands wellness beyond the gym into every aspect of community life. Whatever your goals, the team at Trio Senior Living has got your back, so you can put your best foot forward. Call 801-475-4004 today to schedule your personal visit.
With next-level tech and safety features, Hyundai cars and SUVs give you the confidence to boldly journey wherever life takes you. Advantages include our available class-exclusive digital key and available remote start parking assist. And because we want the road ahead to be as worry-free as possible, every Hyundai also comes complete with America's Best Warranty, a 10-year or 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. It's time you took a test drive of your favorite Hyundai today, only at your Utah Hyundai dealers.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See dealer for full details and disclaimer.
Any Hour Services can help unclog any drain in your house, whether you have a backup, a clog, or a slow drain you want fixed. Call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Thank you for joining us for Midday with Maria Chaleos. Recapping our top story this half hour, Provo Town Center Mall could be getting a major overhaul. The owners say they want to create a mini town in place of what they have now. KSL News Time 1238. Nearly half of all the population growth in Utah in the last year happened in just one county, Utah County. KSL News Radio's Alessandra Gurr reports.
43.4% of the state's population growth happened in Utah County from 2023 to 2024, according to a report from the Utah County Health Department.
That growth is happening around the whole county, from the north border to the south border, but the majority is happening in the north border.
Deputy Director for the Utah County Health Department, Tyler Plew, says it's great, but it also causes a unique twofold problem.
We have to make sure that we have the staff that can do all the inspections that are being demanded on us. But then on the other, we need to promote our services to the new residents of the county.
Alessandra Gurr, KSL News Radio.
The steering committee for the 2034 Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games will soon start steering for real by taking a road trip around the state. That was one of the updates that came out of this week's 2034 Organizing Committee meeting. Executive Chair Fraser Bullock says that the goal is to bridge communications.
We want to listen first and make sure we're well attuned to the state, not just assuming we have all the answers. And many times we can get really good ideas of ways that the games could be celebrated in communities.
The committee also announced it has a goal of raising $300 million to support all of the activities leading up to the games. The money will not come from the government, meaning that fundraising is in full swing. Construction in and around the Delta Center is affecting nearby businesses like the Break Sports Grill, which is just across the street.
Business has slowed down a little bit, and so it's been interesting to see what kind of crowds we get in.
Savannah Palmer is the lead server at the Break. She says they are seeing more people from out of town, but they're also getting a little bit of business from events at the Salt Palace. She thinks the reconstruction project turning Third West into a pedestrian plaza will eventually be a good thing, but says it might be tough while the construction is going on. If you didn't get your Mammoth t-shirt or Mammoth merchandise this last week when the name was announced, don't worry. It will be available for sale online tomorrow. There are some select items already at the Delta Center store. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Ricky?
We are looking at a crash-free commute once again on our Valley freeways and our main secondaries. And if you're traveling I-15, you do have good speeds both directions between Willard Bay and Utah Lake. You do want to be aware of a right lane restricted near 6 North going southbound I-15 with road work. But overall, now looking at kind of a quiet drive for wrapping up the noon hour. Refresh your carpet with True Rinse Carpet Cleaning. Get 3 rooms professionally cleaned for $119. Schedule today. Get a 4th room free. TrueRinse.com or 801-226-6827. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Significantly cooler air has worked into the Wasatch. I got temperatures in the upper 50s today and a chance for showers. 43 in the overnight, mostly cloudy with a slight chance for rain. 60 tomorrow, scattered thunderstorms likely. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Mostly cloudy, 51 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. Coming up on midday, now that his stepmom has been sentenced, a lot of people are still questioning how DCFS could have allowed 12-year-old Gavin Peterson to continue being abused. We'll talk to Representative Christine Watkins on what oversight DCFS has been facing. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Summer is right around the corner.
It's time to spring into summer with Soda Weight Loss. Today is a new day.
And a big day for you.
Why?
Why?
Because right now, you'll get our biggest discount of the year.
Do you know how good it feels to let go of 51 pounds of belly fat? And I did it without drugs, shots, or hunger. Because Soda weight loss works. Just look at all the Google reviews and all the thousands of before and after pictures.
Soda Weight Loss has one goal, and that's to help you let go of the weight for good.
So I lost 25 pounds. I was never hungry. It was very, very easy. I couldn't believe how fast the weight came off.
Now is the time to join America's #1 weight loss company for client satisfaction and results.
Hurry. Savings won't last long.
Let's go.
Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Many people worry they're not making the right investment choices inside their 401ks. Did you know that you might have a little-known opportunity to add some additional investment choices to your 401k and get the help and recommendations you've been looking for? This exciting feature is called a self-directed brokerage window. And the best part? The money still stays within your 401k. Learn how the trusted advisors at Capital Wealth may be able to expand your investment portfolio. To learn more, call or text the word VISIT to 801-877-9800 or go to CapitalWealth401k.com. Improving your 401k might mean the difference of retiring a few years earlier. Let's find out. Schedule your no-cost 15-minute consultation with the Capital Wealth team today. Call or text the word VISIT to 801-877-9800 or go to CapitalWealth401k.com. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor.
KSL News Time 1245. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
hundreds of people who signed up for the new Great Salt Lake license plates still haven't gotten them, and they've been waiting for at least 6 months. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, Senator John Curtis is part of a new effort at the Capitol to improve water quality and create more storage infrastructure in the western states. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
A right lane blocked southbound I-15 approaching 6 North with those orange barrels, but we're not seeing any kind of significant backup in the area, and we're actually enjoying a crash-free commute on the Valley freeways. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Looking for improving air quality today? 30 degrees cooler and a chance for showers. I'm Matt Johnson.
Dark clouds, 51 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President Trump is in Saudi Arabia, part of a 3-nation Mideast tour. He delivered a speech at an investment forum today, saying he will lift sanctions on Syria after the fall of Bashar al-Assad.
I will be ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness.
The president also says Saudi Arabia has pledged a $600 billion investment in U.S. projects. A House committee holding a markup session today on the GOP reconciliation budget bill. It could include cuts to Medicaid. Demonstrators, including dozens in wheelchairs, tried to block the entrance, but were stopped by Capitol Police, and several arrests were made. The Trump administration cutting another $450 million in federal grants to Harvard. It comes a day after the university pushed back against government allegations. The Ivy League school is a hotbed of liberalism and anti-Semitism. Harvard is already suing to halt the earlier funding freeze. This is ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. The stepmother of Gavin Peterson was sentenced to 20 years to life in prison yesterday for the abuse of her stepson. This has been a case where many have wondered how the abuse was allowed to continue for so long, despite reports from concerned school workers. There was an effort to crack down on Utah's Division of Child and Family Services to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Joining me now live to talk about where things stand today is Representative Christine Watkins. She is the House Chair of the Child Welfare Legislative Oversight Panel, which oversees DCFS. And thank you so much for being with me today. Tell us, what is being done to ensure that DCFS is working the way it should?
Well, Maria, we have a lot of things that's going on. We have an audit being done right now. I know a lot of people would say, well, just go in and make all these changes. But sometimes the shotgun approach isn't the correct way to do it. And so we wanted to be a little bit more precise. We know there's issues. We had a lot of meetings with DCFS. They gave us all the background information on Gavin's case. And I will tell you that if there was a crack he could slip through, that's what happened to Gavin. And there were people who didn't even know that he was in that home. So it's hard to say when the school people called about him, and then the stepmom takes him out of school, and then he just disappears. What happened to him? These people had friends who did not even know that Gavin was part of the family or in the home. So I've had a lot of talks with the director, and I will tell you, they have a lot of other issues they have to deal with on a daily basis. So for this particular case, we're all waiting for the audit. We continue to watch them and see they have made some adjustments to their own processes. I ran a bill last session that would have given them a little bit more power in these particular kind of cases, and it was not, the committee that I presented it to did not like it, and yet a lot of other people did. I have decided to try and run that bill again, so we'll see what happens in this next year's session, but it's such a tricky thing, and I will tell you, when I watched the judge on the news last night sentence her, the stepmom, I was cheering her on. I hope this woman never ever sees the light of day for what she did. And so we just have a lot going on. It sounds like it would be an easy fix, but it's really not.
Yeah, it's painful to watch that judge too. Tell us, you said there are a number of problems. What do you think needs to change?
Well, the hard part is the job they have to do, and which is to protect children, and unfortunately from parents and bad parents and step parents or adults. And so I think it's just a matter of trying to walk a line of where parents have the right to be parents, but also when they're going off the tracks and doing things they shouldn't be, that people are not afraid to report that and to help DCFS protect those children. But I think one of the things we really are looking forward to, and they're starting on, is to work with families. We just have a lot of people, I think, that, I don't know, can't figure things out. And if they can work with families and look and say, okay, this family, these kids really should not be here, or instruct parents in parenting skills. But, we've really looked at it as a committee, as individual legislators, which is representatives and senators. But we have to fight within, I don't know if that's the correct word, but we have to work within our own system to try and get things correct. And we're trying to do that.
Representative, I appreciate your time. Thanks for being with me. That is Representative Christine Watkins. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Ricky, what's happening?
Good speeds up and down the I-15 corridor, as well as the rest of your Salt Lake County freeways. All earlier traffic issues, crashes on our freeways and main secondaries have been cleared, and no other delays to speak of as far as significant slowdowns. If you are traveling southbound I-15, trying to get into the downtown area, be aware of right lane restricted near 6 North as you're coming in with road work over to the right shoulder. But right now, it's not causing any kind of backup. Whether you park it, stripe it, or pave it, GoPave Utah has your blacktop covered at GoPaveUtah.com. That's GoPaveUtah.com. Call or visit GoPaveUtah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. Temperatures will be running much cooler than yesterday. I got a high of 59 and a chance for rain by afternoon. 60 tomorrow, scattered thunderstorms. 65, 30% chance for rain, and mostly cloudy Thursday. Friday, mostly cloudy, 69. Dry skies, partly cloudy on Saturday, 75. We then cool it off again with highs in the 60s Sunday and Monday both, with a chance for thunderstorms on both days. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now in downtown Salt Lake City, mostly cloudy skies and 51 degrees. And the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Markets, we're seeing a mixed day with the NASDAQ, the big performer today. A complete update of your money news is coming up next.
Market volatility isn't slowing down. If you're nearing retirement, now is not the time to wait and see. Every day of uncertainty can put your future at risk. It's time to diversify. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I want you to know you can create certainty, locking in guaranteed income for life. This